If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description.
Chapter 216, Next Challenger, please. Too much, it's just too much. The four-eyed demon slumped to the ground, face contorted in pain. This was probably the hardest duel he'd ever fought in his long, demonic life. Honestly, it was laughable he couldn't even play a single card and didn't get to do anything. How could something as outrageous as mystical ref panel exist in this world? Come to think of it, Kira suddenly remembered mystical ref panel was also a real card in the game. Who says the King of Games deck isn't powerful? There are so many fun and smile-inducing cards in there. After the duel, Kira calmly stepped forward. But with every step he took, the demons behind him instinctively shivered and backed away a step. At this moment, you really couldn't tell who the real demon was just by looking at the scene. Some demons wanted to help up their defeated boss, but as soon as Kira approached, they stopped dead in their tracks. Suddenly, they realized, wait, after this duel, their boss wasn't the boss anymore. Now, the guy in front of them was their new boss. So, the smarter demon underlings silently began to crowd around behind Kira. In just a moment, it looked like Kira was leading a gang of demons, all of them standing around the miserable, helpless four-eyed demon like he was being bullied. The four-eyed demon let out a long sigh and said nothing more. What was there to say? You gamble, you pay. In this place, might makes right. He lost the duel, so of course his underlings would switch sides. From now on, he wasn't in charge here anymore. I lost, the four-eyed demon said gloomily, getting up with his head hung low. According to the rules, you can take any one card from me. Kira frowned. Just one. The four-eyed demon's eyelid twitched, staring at him in shock. What more do you want? You said the winner sets the rules, right? So how about this? Kira offered a suggestion. Now that I've won, I'd like to tweak your rules a bit. From now on, the whole deck is at stake in every duel. Ah? But that's... The four-eyed demon looked troubled, glanced around, and then lowered his voice. Boss, you're new here, so you may not know. Do you know why we're allowed to keep our decks here and why status is decided by dueling? Oh? Why is that? It's the church's demand, the four-eyed demon whispered. This bunker isn't just a prison, it's also covered by a ward that absorbs dueling energy. The energy generated by our duels is absorbed by the ward and used to feed the slumbering evil god. So, they want us to duel and fight inside, but taking someone's life or confiscating their entire deck through dueling is strictly forbidden. So what happens if you break that rule? Kira asked. Hey! The four-eyed demon froze. Naturally, the bunker would punish you. So, is there anyone strong in here? Kira pressed. The demon was stumped for a moment, then thought it over. At least the warden is extremely strong, he's on a whole different level from us. If things get out of hand, he might step in personally. Kira's eyes lit up. Well, that would be perfect. Once I take everyone's decks, I won't have to go looking for the bunker's strong players, they'll come to me one by one. All right, understood, Kira nodded in thanks. Now, hand over your deck. The four-eyed demon. Is this guy crazy? Didn't he hear me? Isn't he afraid of being punished for openly defying the bunker's rules? What? You have a problem with that? And no, of course not. The four-eyed demon glanced at the still present Gearfried the Iron Knight, whose sword was at his throat. Does it look like I can object? So, Kira took the deck. It probably didn't have anything valuable, but that didn't matter. Free cards were free cards. Even selling them all would make a tidy sum. All right, so you said there are a few other duelists in the bunker. Yeah, the four-eyed demon replied weakly. Lead the way, Kira said. The demon shivered again, immediately realizing Kira's intent. He's not going to let any of them go? His body started trembling uncontrollably. He suddenly doubted if this guy was just a recently captured prisoner. Maybe he was the real demon here? No, wait, maybe I'm the demon. Not willing. Kira frowned. Gearfried's sword seemed to press a millimeter closer to the demon's throat. Willing. So willing. The four-eyed demon hurriedly got up. Forget it, he thought. He was being coerced, he had no choice, he wasn't betraying his fellow inmates on purpose. Besides, that utter helplessness, that pain in the last duel, why should he be the only one to taste it? Thinking this, the demon's lips curled into a sadistic smile as he led the way. Heh, no way I'm letting my good buddies miss out on the joy of dueling. On the way, Kira casually asked the local demons about the place. You're from outside? The four-eyed demon looked at him, surprised. And in his heart, he grew even more curious what kind of place could breed such an evil duelist. Well, it's rare for outsiders to come here, the demon said. Let me guess, Orichalcos invaded, slaughtered and enslaved your people? Kira asked. That's right. A trace of hatred flickered in the demon's eyes. Those evil gods' minions leave ruin wherever they go. They burn, kill and plunder. The demon gritted his teeth. Damn it, those should be our trademark moves. Kira. Trademark? Burning, killing, plundering? We noble demons are the true rulers of this land. Everything here is our slave, as it's always been. The four-eyed demon snarled. Those villains have stolen our birthright, seized our lands, and enslaved us just as we enslaved others. Kira. Listening to this, it sounded like both sides were equally bad. Turns out, this dimension is just the dogs fighting the dogs. What's even more shameful is that some of us bowed to the evil god, became his dogs, and disgraced demon blood. Humph, I despise those guys the most. I'd rather die in this bunker than betray my noble blood and serve the evil god. By this point, they'd arrived at a plaza, the prisoners' activity area. Most of the crowd was demons, but there were other races of spirits and even a fish in prison garb bouncing around on land. The four-eyed demon led the way, attracting the curious stares of the other spirits as they crossed the plaza, heading to its far side. Then he put his hands on his hips and shouted with a big smile. Hey! Buddy, you there? Come out, it's time to duel. Chapter 217, Prison Break? Continuous trap. Royal decree. All trap effects on the field are negated, Kira said calmly. Then I activate equip spell Big Bang Shot, equipping it to your monster Gilgarth. The equipped monster gains 400 ATK. Next, I discard the water monster Sinister Serpent from my hand to activate my Abyss Soldier's effect. Once per turn, I discard a card to return a card on the field to its owner's hand. I'll return Big Bang Shot to hand, and by its effect, the equipped Gilgarth is banished. The surrounding spirit's jaws dropped. Hey? You can do that? Then I re-equip the returned Big Bang Shot to my own Abyss Soldier, Kira smiled. Both Abyss Soldiers, direct attack. In just a few minutes, yet another demon lost his dreams and his deck. But at least this demon wasn't sad about losing his deck. Because this time, he lost his life as well. When dueling the four-eyed demon, Kira hadn't figured out the situation yet. And since his opponent hadn't intended to kill him, Kira had only reduced his LP to 0 and held back, deciding to ask questions after the duel. But now he understood this whole realm was just demons and invaders fighting each other, and nobody seemed like a good guy. So, there was nothing more to say, might as well take the deck and move on. But seeing a fellow inmate get erased into light right before their eyes, the watching prisoners were terrified. Someone dared to kill in the bunker, right in front of everyone. Wasn't he afraid of the warden? Especially the four-eyed demon. Seeing his fellow prisoner get cut down, he felt icy fear, realizing he'd just brushed past death himself. To have only lost his deck in a duel with this devil, and still have his life, must be thanks to his ancestors praying to Satan himself. Kira calmly collected another deck, looking around curiously. How come the warden hadn't shown up yet? The security in this dump needed work. Whatever. If the warden won't come, he'll just keep looking for the next one. You said there are 2 more duel-capable spirits. Kira looked at the four-eyed demon and waved him over. Come on, keep leading. The demon trembled all over but didn't dare refuse. He could only bow his head and bite his lip as he walked. Brothers, don't blame me, I have no choice. Boom. Suddenly, a loud bang sounded from somewhere, making the whole bunker tremble. Immediately after, a cold voice echoed in the air. All prisoners, recreation time is over. Return to your cells immediately, or force will be used. Repeat, return to your cells immediately, or force will be used. The imprisoned spirits scattered in panic, pushing and shoving to get back to their cells. They were quite afraid of the bunker's guards. The four-eyed demon sidled up to Kira and whispered, Boss, maybe we'd better head back to our cell for now. We can duel later, right? Otherwise. He stopped mid-sentence. He'd been about to say, otherwise we might upset the guards and get punished, but then realized his boss hadn't cared about the guards at all from the start. That was a loud bang earlier sounded like an explosion, Kira mused. Could it be a prison break? Hey! The four-eyed demon paused. Well, it's not impossible. There were some strong ones who tried to break the prison before, but most failed. It hasn't happened in a long time. Kira nodded and continued, so if someone's bold enough to try now, they must be really strong, hey. Definitely. You wouldn't come to the bunker unless you were confident. Wait, boss, what are you planning? The demon's face twisted in terror. Are you seriously excited by this? Kira was a little excited. If they were a strong spirit, they'd probably have a good deck, right? A few minutes earlier, deep inside the bunker in the conference room, a heavy iron door blocked all the outside noise. Dim firelight barely illuminated the corners of the table, casting strange shadows on the walls and ceiling. The bunker warden sat at the end of the long table, face grim. Crimson moonlight filtered through a small window, casting blood-red shadows across his face. I'll be blunt. The warden put his hands on the table, propped his chin on them, and spoke in a low voice. You should all know the great god of Orichalcos has sent a special envoy to our world. His gaze swept over the senior staff. The envoy's identity is unknown, maybe even deliberately hidden from us by those above. We don't know the envoy's race, gender, or even what form they'll take. But for the foreseeable future, I want everyone to act as if anyone could be that envoy. Be careful in all words and actions. Understood, the higher UPS nodded. An undercover envoy's inspection was standard at any fortress or outpost that had submitted to the god. Sometimes it was obvious, other times, like this, it was hidden. After all, the higher UPS knew many natives hadn't truly embraced Orichalcos, many just submitted under duress. Some were even only pretending, biding their time until the cult's grip weakened, at which point they'd immediately defect or run away. I've heard some races can shapeshift or use magic to disguise themselves, one senior staffer said, looking around the room. Maybe the envoy is already here, maybe in this very room. Everyone started eyeing one another suspiciously. It could be a guard, another said. Or maybe, bold enough, even a new prisoner in disguise. Some kept quiet, but their faces were full of doubt. Would the envoy pose as a prisoner? In any case, don't overlook any possibility, the warden finished. Be careful in the days ahead. Boom. Suddenly, the bunker shook violently from a massive blow from outside. The warden's face changed. What's going on? Soon, a demon rushed in from outside. Prison break. Someone's breaking in. Chapter 218, Archbishop and Earl. Bonus. In just a few minutes, the area outside the bunker had become a river of blood, a scene of utter chaos. A horde of monsters charged the bunker, clashing fiercely with the guards. At the front, a demon roared low, making the very earth tremble as countless monsters surged in from all directions. There were all shapes and sizes, some as savage as beasts, some twisted like phantoms. Their howls and roars merged into a chilling symphony. The warden himself took to the battlefield, frowning at the chaos. Then he shouted, "Lord!" A cold wind swept the field, followed by a string of chilling, sinister laughter, "Ha ha ha!" A dark whirlwind took the shape of a humanoid, like a noble from an ancient painting. His face was pale, his skin like cold jade never touched by sunlight, glowing faintly red in the moonlight. A strange light flickered in his eyes, a high nose above thin lips, and sharp fangs. This was no nameless weakling, but the vampire lord, a 5-star monster with 2000 ATK, was once a staple even in old tournament decks. Your blood clan isn't allowed in this territory, the warden said coldly. What brings you to my bunker? Humph, does territory matter anymore? The vampire lord sneered, squinting. Your evil god's ambitions grow ever larger. Everyone knows it's only a matter of time before your claw sees our lands. So, we've decided to strike first, allying with the demon clans to form a united front while we still have allies. Fools! The warden stepped forward, his arm transforming into a dual disc and deck. You could have enjoyed yourselves a bit longer, but since you're seeking death, don't blame me for what happens next. Interesting. I've long wanted to test myself against one of the evil god's henchmen, the vampire lord sneered, summoning his own dual disc. Duel. X2. The warden drew 5 cards and said coldly, "Let me show you how foolish it is to challenge me, the guardian of the demon bunker." The vampire lord curled his lip. Foolish? As long as I keep you busy in this duel, I've already completed my mission. What? The warden frowned, realizing too late. Boom! While chaos reigned outside, a huge breach exploded open in the bunker wall. Water gushed in, and a slender figure strode forward atop the flowing water. Level 3 Water Attribute Demon Archbishop Archfiend. Ha! Easier than I thought, the Archbishop sneered, striding forward. He gripped a staff topped with a sinister skull. The water swirling from the breach did not dissipate, but coiled around him like a dragon, guarding him. Prisoners in nearby cells cheered and shouted, some begging to be freed. The Archbishop ignored them, heading straight for a particular cell. Earl. The figure inside slowly looked up. To call him a person wasn't quite right, he was more like a well-dressed zombie. His face looked half-rotted, one bulging eyeball showing a truly ghastly sight. The Earl of Demise, a level 5 zombie, described as this gentlemanly creature, is extremely wicked, feared by man and fiend alike. He was the strongest prisoner in the bunker but usually disdained the petty disputes of the lower ranks. The other demons naturally didn't dare mess with him. Your sentence is over, Great Earl. The Archbishop sneered, beckoning. The water around him moved like a hand, picking up a small key. It was a key he'd taken from a guard on the way in. The Earl's eyes gleamed. He immediately realized it was the key to his cell. The cells looked ordinary but were sealed to suppress spirits' powers. Inside, spirits couldn't summon dual discs or use card powers. The prisoners were also bound by spells. Only in designated areas or with guard approval could they duel. Finally, freedom. Welcome back, Earl, the Archbishop smiled. I was only caught because I got careless, the Earl growled. But now, even if I have to die, even if my soul is consumed, I will never ever return to this cell. Of course, the Archbishop replied. But let's hurry. The Vampire Lord is keeping the warden busy, but that old guy's tough. Your exit is over there, someone's waiting. If we don't move fast, who knows what'll happen. Fine. I did want to meet that old thing again and settle some old scores, but I'll let him go for today. The Archbishop was just about to unlock the cell when he suddenly froze. He turned, only to find someone blocking his path. Both the Archbishop and the Earl were stunned. He wasn't wearing a guard's uniform. You're a prisoner too? The Archbishop asked darkly. Out of the way. I'm not taking you with us. Oh? What a coincidence, I'm not planning to leave just yet, Kira smiled. He hadn't finished collecting all the loot on this map, so why rush to the next area? But from what the four-eyed demon had said, this Earl of Demise was the hidden boss of the prisoners. In other words, one of the most valuable treasures on this map. Anyone interfering with his 100% completion rate was not tolerated. They could leave, but their loot, cards, belonged to him. But you two won't have such an easy time escaping, Kira said, raising his arm. Pale blue data rippled across it, materializing his dual disc. Both the Archbishop and the Earl were startled. You're going to stop us? In the surrounding cells, the other prisoners were confused. What's going on? Isn't he a captive like us? Could he be a guard's undercover agent? In truth, besides farming cards, Kira had a bold and interesting plan. But first, he needed to loot these two walking cards. I don't know what you're up to, but we don't have time to waste with you, the Archbishop said, stepping forward. He swept his staff, and water magic swirled around him, forming a dual disc shaped like a white bone. It seemed the spirits' dual discs all looked different. The Archbishop's was bone-colored, as if made from skulls. Please wait, Earl, the Archbishop said, narrowing his eyes. I'll deal with this ignorant brat in no time. Chapter 219, Pit to Death? Bonus. Duel. X2. Kira, LP 4000. Archbishop, LP 4000. Looks like I get to go first. The Archbishop grunted in a low voice. My turn. Draw. He glanced at his hand and quickly picked out a card. I activate the spell card Pot of Duality. Excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, add one of them to your hand, also, after that, shuffle the rest back into your deck. You can only activate one Pot of Duality per turn. You cannot special summon during the turn you activate this card. Kira narrowed his eyes. Whoa, the legendary pot. Back in the era transitioning from Synchro to XYZ, Pot of Duality was almost as prized as the old Pot of Greed. Every competitive deck ran it. Though Duality restricts you from special summoning that turn, for the pace of the game then, it was fine. Kira had sought out every card with pot in its name, so he knew Duality wasn't yet released on the market. But it seemed Kybercorp and Industrial Illusions already had info on it, probably a not yet public new card. Kira nodded slightly. No wonder this guy's a well-known monster. Even with a disguise he is an elite, already holding cards more valuable than the riffraff in the bunker. Duality isn't that useful for him now, but hey, it's free. No harm in picking up a copy. The Archbishop drew 3 cards from the top of his deck, then smirked, humming, "Looks like your luck isn't so great." Such a powerful card revealed right away. He held up a card. According to Pot of Duality's effect, I choose this powerful trap, Sakuretsu Armor, to add to my hand. Kira. Well, how to put it? That is a powerful trap. In every sense of the word. Then I activate the spell card Pot of Greed to draw 2 cards. The Archbishop drew, then I summon Lion Alligator. Lion Alligator, ATK 1900. Next, I set 2 cards in my back row and end my turn, the Archbishop declared. Kira glanced at the monster on his opponent's field. Alligator? Not even a fiend type? Then he recalled this guy had been using water spells since entering, and all his moves seemed water-based. So that's it, a water mage, so you use a water deck, Kira realized. Then it's my turn. Draw. I activate the quick play spell card Destruction from my hand. Both players discard 2 cards from their hands to the graveyard, then draw 2 cards. The Archbishop picked out 2 cards to discard, and let out a soft chuckle. Looks like your opening hand wasn't so great. There's still time to surrender, you know. Kira ignored him and drew 5 cards in one go. I set 5 cards in my back row and end my turn. Archbishop. Earl. No monster summoned? And he set 5 back row at once? What's this play style? Even after refreshing your hand, you didn't draw a single monster to summon. The Archbishop sneered. So you're just a clown. Guess it's no surprise not to meet any real opponents in a place like this. Earl said gravely, be careful. I think this kid's got something up his sleeve. Earl was a loner in the bunker and hadn't seen Kira's duel in the plaza. But the other's calm attitude, the confidence to set 5 back row without hesitation and pass with an empty field, it all made him uneasy. Relax, Earl. Just a nobody. I'll deal with him in no time, barked the Archbishop. My turn. Draw. I activate the quick play spell Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy one of your back row. Chaining MST, I activate my set card, the trap card Card of Pandora, Kira countered coolly. When your card targets one of my spell/trap cards, the target switches to this card. Then I draw 2 cards. Anime card. Nanny. The Archbishop frowned, watching as his MST's swirling winds shifted to target Card of Pandora. Kira then drew his cards. TCH, so you have back row protection too, the Archbishop grumbled. Then I activate the spell card Card of Burial Magic, banish Pot of Greed, Mystical Space Typhoon, and Pot of Duality from my graveyard to draw 2 cards. Anime card. Kira flipped up another back row. At this moment, I activate the continuous trap appropriate. Whenever you draw cards outside your draw phase, I get to draw 2 cards as well. Trying to piggyback off my draws, hey. The Archbishop frowned. 3 spell cards appeared, then scattered into golden light. The Archbishop drew 2 cards. Glancing at his new hand, the Archbishop immediately revealed one. Next, the effect of Aqua Spirit in my hand. I banish a water monster from my graveyard, discarded by your card Destruction, to special summon Aqua Spirit. A whirlpool appeared above the graveyard, sucking in a card. A blue-haired water fairy stepped gracefully from the mist. Aqua Spirit, ATK 1600. Her intelligent eyes sparkled a clever little spirit. Of course, Kira wasn't going easy just because she looked smart and cute. He waved his hand. I activate my trap, Dark Lightning. Negates a special summon of 1 monster. Manga card. A black bolt of lightning struck Aqua Spirit, who screamed and was shattered on the spot. Damn it, how could you treat Aqua Spirit like that? The Archbishop seemed angry. Then, I summon Giant Red Sea Snake. A bright red snake, its scales tight as armor, gleamed bloodily, fangs bared. Giant Red Sea Snake, ATK 1800. You think such tricks can stop my attack? The Archbishop roared. Giant Red Sea Snake, direct attack. Kira calmly waved his hand. Trap card, Trap Hole of Spikes. When a monster summoned this turn declares an attack, destroy it, and inflict damage equal to half its original ATK. The serpent fell into a hidden pit lined with spikes. It thrashed, then exploded. Archbishop, LP 4000-3100. Ugh! The Archbishop staggered back, gritting his teeth. Such a devious tactic. But he straightened up quickly, but my attack isn't over yet. I still have Lion Alligator attack directly. The Lion Alligator, with its lion's mane and steel hard spikes, charged like a beast, claws gouging the ground. Here, monsters are real. The psychological pressure from such a beast is on another level. So scary, then I activate my set card. Kira raised his hand. Trap card, Prison Flame. When your monster attacks, discard a card, destroy the attacker, and inflict damage equal to half its ATK. Anime card. Archbishop. Again? Prison Flame erupted, incinerating the Lion Alligator and lashing the Archbishop in turn. Archbishop, LP 3100-2150. Damn you! The Archbishop snarled. 3 monsters were wiped out in one turn, and his LP nearly halved. Yet the opponent hadn't even summoned a monster. A crazy thought flashed through his mind. Is this guy trying to win just by pitting me to death? Chapter 220, What did you say? Bonus. Do you plan to win just by using these underhanded tricks? The Archbishop grew agitated. Of course not. Kira smiled, gesturing at his duel disc. I still have plenty of interesting tactics. But the fun of dueling is letting you discover them for yourself. Archbishop. He fell silent, scowling as he drew a card. Continuous spell, Mirage of Nightmare. During your standby phase, draw until you have 4 cards in hand, then, on your next turn, discard the same number of cards you drew. Kira was unsurprised. This was a common combo in the GX era. Even in physical tournaments, this card was everywhere. The only difference from the TCG is that, in the anime, this card always comes paired with emergency provisions. I set a card and end my turn. My turn. Draw. Kira drew. During your standby phase, per Mirage of Nightmare's effect, I draw cards too, the Archbishop said. Kira replied, then by appropriate's effect, when you draw outside your draw phase, I also draw 2 cards. He drew alongside his opponent, then glanced at the Archbishop's back row 3 sets, and Kira already knew one was Sakuretsu armor. The Archbishop narrowed his eyes. Come on, summon a monster and attack me. I activate the spell Graceful Charity, Kira said. Draw 3, then discard 2. Kira drew, then discarded. But just as the cards hit the graveyard, one glowed and returned. I discarded this card, Jinzo, Returner, Kira announced. Its effect activates when sent to the graveyard. Special summon Jinzo from my graveyard. Kira raised his hand. The King of Traplock, Jinzo, arise. Electricity flashed from the grave's vortex. Jinzo appeared, arms crossed, eyes glowing red. Jinzo, ATK 2400. At last he's here. Jinzo was fired up. Last time, he barely got to appear before being tributed, leaving him depressed for days. Now, he finally had his chance to shine. Time to put on a show. Jinzo. The Archbishop and Earl were both shocked. They could tell at a glance this wasn't just a regular high-level monster, but a card with an actual Jinzo spirit, even stronger than their own. A duelist who could command such a spirit. Both looked at Kira with growing suspicion. Is this guy really a prisoner here? Where would a place like this get someone so strong? Be careful, Archbishop, Earl warned. This kid's trouble. I know. The Archbishop was sweating bullets, but with no way out, he forced himself to focus. Then I activate my set card, Floodgate Trap Hole. When your monster is summoned, flip it face down. Oh, you don't even recognize Jinzo? In my world, no one would make such a stupid move. Kira shrugged. Archbishop shouted, Why? Why didn't my trap activate? While Jinzo is on the field, neither player can activate trap cards, and all face-up traps are negated, Kira explained. Jinzo crossed his arms in a tactical stance. Who's the real Traplock King now? The Archbishop was stunned. What? That means my Floodgate Trap Hole and Sakuretsu armor are dead cards? Why would you build a deck full of traps and then bring out a trap-locking monster yourself? Aren't you afraid of locking yourself out too? The Archbishop felt more and more that Kira was an incomprehensible opponent and realized Earl's warning was right. Then I set a card. A new set appeared in Kira's back row, then he activated another. I activate card of burial magic, banish card destruction, graceful charity, and foolish burial from my graveyard to draw 2 cards. Original card. He showed another card in his hand. Quick play spell, serial spell. Can only be chained to your normal spell. Discard your hand, this card's effect becomes the same as that spell. Kira discarded his hand with a smile. Since only the effect is copied, I don't have to pay the banish 3 spells from graveyard cost again. I draw 2 more cards. So, I draw 4 cards total. Kira drew 4 cards at once. Then I normal summon Jetroid. Jetroid, ATK 1200. Battle phase. Jinzo, attack directly. Kira ordered. Jinzo was pumped. His first attack for his new master, he had to make it epic. Electricity surged in his palms, forming a psychic blast. He fired straight at the Archbishop's face. The Archbishop gritted his teeth. Quick play spell emergency provisions. Send my Mirage of Nightmare and 2 set cards to the grave. Gain 1000 LP for each. 3 cards vanished, infusing him with golden light. Boom. Archbishop, LP 2150 5150 2750. The Archbishop was blasted, rolling on the ground, smoking, looking miserable. Jetroid, attack as well, Kira said. The humanoid jet took off, launching a volley of missiles. More explosions, another round of rolling, more burns. Archbishop, LP 2750 1550. His screams made the demons in nearby cells shudder. Just watching was painful. But he crawled up again, trembling, now looking at Kira with true fear. Now he realized he'd messed with something terrifying. But there was still hope. The Archbishop calmed himself. At least he'd survived the turn. Even if he'd had to waste powerful traps, with Jinzo on the field, neither player could use traps, so next turn, he could counterattack. I equip Amplifier to Jinzo. Kira slotted a card into his dual disc, a helmet-like device appeared over Jinzo, who obediently put it on. Amplifier is Jinzo's exclusive equip. With it, Jinzo's effect changes from neither player can use traps to only the opponent can't use traps. As long as Amplifier is equipped, my traps are unaffected by Jinzo's lock. Archbishop. Hey? What did you say? Chapter 221, Full Reflection. The Archbishop was starting to lose it. Now he understood why this guy ran Jinzo, a trap lock monster, yet still packed his deck with traps. It wasn't a contradiction at all. If it was just a mutual trap lock, both sides would have to rely on pure combat. But once this Amplifier helmet was on Jinzo, everything changed. The field became a one-sided trap lockdown. Only he was banned from using traps. So I can only fall into pits, but can't dig my own? The Archbishop gritted his teeth, glaring at Jinzo. A symbol of pure anti-trap power, now working with the dirtiest tactics. I set a card and end my turn, Kira said softly. Alright, your move. TCH. My turn. Draw. The Archbishop said grimly. Jinzo plus Amplifier is a huge disadvantage for me. And your back row is probably full of powerful traps to stop my plays. But it's useless. A red light flashed in his eyes. I am the Dark Bishop Archfiend, a proud member of the demon race. If you think such a simple setup can stop me, you underestimate me. I activate Nobleman of Extermination. Destroy one set spell/trap on the field and banish it. If it's a trap, banish all copies from both decks. He pointed to Kira's leftmost set. Destroy that one. A blade of light slashed down, splitting the set. The Archbishop saw it was magic cylinder. Dangerous. He grunted. If I'd been hit by that now. His expression changed. Because, right before the image faded, the magic cylinder card suddenly flashed, transforming into another card. Trap card, fake trap. Kira smiled. When another trap you control would be destroyed, this card gets destroyed instead. He glanced at his remaining set card and smiled. But now you know. Yes, that one is magic cylinder. So, what will you do? Damn it. The Archbishop gritted his teeth. That arrogant attitude, that punchable face, and nothing he could do about it. Then I activate card of adversity. If you have a special summoned monster and I have none, I draw 2 cards. Anime card. The Archbishop drew. Then, as per appropriate, Kira said, I draw 2 cards as well. The Archbishop's face was grim but suddenly his eyes lit up. Ha 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 ha. I told you, I am the Dark Bishop Archfiend, not some lowly demon. Your traps are useless. I activate Hey, True Nad. All set spell and trap cards are returned to their owner's hands. A green tornado swept up Kira's magic cylinder, returning it to his hand. Kira squinted. Hey, True Nad. Another rare card not yet seen in the outside world. Of course, Tornado only hits set cards, while Mystical Space Typhoon can hit anything, hence MST is banned and Tornado isn't. But it didn't matter, any good card he didn't have, he'd pocket. If nothing else, he could use it for research. Kira put magic cylinder back in his hand and smiled. Nice card, but after this duel, it's mine. Now your field is clear. The Archbishop sneered. Time to finish this first. Continuous spell Water Hazard. Once per turn, if I have no monsters, I can special summon a level 4 or lower water monster from my hand. He drew a card. I special summon level 4 Lord Poison. Lord Poison, ATK 1500. Then I play Magic Planter, sending Water Hazard to the grave to draw 2 cards. Anime effect. He sent his used continuous spell and drew 2 more. Appropriate effect, Kira said cheerily. I draw 2 more. Thanks for the free draws. The Archbishop continued, then I activate Fiend's Sanctuary. Special summon a Metal Fiend token. Metal Fiend token, ATK 0. Sacrifice the token to tribute summon. The Archbishop raised his hand. I summon my Ace Awaken from Ancient Ice, Frostosaurus. A chilling wind and a mountain-like form emerged from the mist, covered in ice. A truly massive dragon, the field felt frozen at its appearance. Frostosaurus, ATK 2600. Kira smirked. That's a nice card. He might not use it, but Frostosaurus is the highest ATK tribute monster with no downside in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! A true collector's rare. Not bad at all, this Archbishop really has the goods. Then I play double attack. Discard a monster, choose a monster with a lower level on my field, and it can attack twice this turn. I discard level 6 Amphibian Beast, so Lord Poison can attack twice. A watery aura enveloped Lord Poison. Here I go. The Archbishop shouted. First, Frostosaurus attacks Jinzo. Frostosaurus unleashed a freezing vortex. Jinzo was frozen solid, then shattered by the dragon's tail. Jinzo was frustrated. His debut, and he didn't even get a KO. Kira, LP 40003800. His first LP damage finally breaking through Kira's defense. The Archbishop regained a little confidence. Then Lord Poison attacks Jetroid. The Lord lunged, claws slashing. But Jetroid looked unafraid, even contemptuous. But just as the claws struck, Jetroid gleamed, forming a twin-barreled shape. Magic cylinder. What? The Archbishop shrieked. Why? Didn't I just bounce that to his hand? I nuked and blew up everything. How is this thing still here? Why? Jetroid's effect, Kira said. When targeted for an attack, I can activate a trap card from my hand. From the hand. The Archbishop glared at Jetroid as if he could kill him. So, you're a dirty trickster too? Magic Cylinder's effect, negate the attack and inflict damage equal to the attacker's ATK. Ugh! Lord Poison's claw slammed into the Archbishop himself, sending him flying. Archbishop, LP 155050. Ugh, damn it all. Down to 50 LP, barely surviving. If he'd summoned Aqua Spirit, ATK 1600, instead, he'd have been KO'd. He eyed Kira warily. Even his traps can't be cleared out, hey. But now your magic cylinder is gone, the Archbishop growled. Thanks to double attack, Lord Poison can attack again. Lord Poison, attack Jetroid. Kira smiled. Then Jetroid's effect activates again when targeted for attack. I can activate a trap card from my hand. Archbishop. No once per turn? And you have another trap? He goggled. Don't tell me it's another magic cylinder. He couldn't believe it. If you can play a second cylinder from your hand, I'm calling the cops. No, Kira chuckled. Not that lucky. This time, the trap I activate is intruder alarm, yellow alert. A trap card appeared. When your monster attacks, special summon a monster from your hand, and your opponent must attack it instead. Manga effect. Not magic cylinder. The Archbishop let out a tiny sigh of relief. At least this guy had some decency. Wait, special summon a monster from hand? Doesn't that mean I special summon Reflect Bounder? Kira revealed his only monster. Reflect Bounder, ATK 1700. When Reflect Bounder is attacked in attack position, your opponent takes damage equal to the attacking monster's ATK. Archbishop. Nanny? The Archbishop wore a mask of agony, fear, despair, and anger all at once. This is just a human magic cylinder? So, Reflect Bounder's effect, Kira waved. Take your own attack's damage, one more time. Reflect Bounder caught the attack with his mirror, reflecting the energy at the Archbishop. Arg. Archbishop, LP 500. Chapter 222, Divine Messenger. Earl had watched up close as his teammate was thoroughly executed. He sat in silence for a while. Then, quietly, he retreated to a corner of his cell and hugged his knees. Ever since being brought into this bunker, since being locked in this cage, he'd never stopped thinking about breaking free one day and getting revenge on these minions of the evil gods, making them regret ever crossing him. But now, for the first time in his life, he suddenly felt this cage wasn't so bad. Not that it was comfortable, but at least compared to the outside, it gave him a sense of security. The outside world was just too terrifying. After finishing off the Archbishop who'd come to bust him out, Kira dusted off his hands and turned to look at Earl in his cell. Not coming out? He asked. Earl shook his head desperately. No, I'm good right here. He tried hard to force a smile, but with his decaying zombie face, it only looked more frightening and a bit goofy. Are you sure you don't want out? Kira coaxed. Think carefully, your buddies risked their lives to break you out. If you miss today, there won't be another chance. Earl kept shaking his head. No way I'm going out. I'm fine here, love it. Super comfy, I swear. Oh, is that so? Kira nodded. Then he bent down, picked up the fallen Archbishop's deck, and grabbed the keys he'd dropped. The key slid into the lock with a click. Earl's eyes widened as he watched the door that had imprisoned him for who knows how long, now ironically became his last shield against the demon, and it was being unlocked. The door slowly swung open, and the demon with that sunny smile strode in, whispering coldly, "If you won't come out, then I'll come in." Earl trembled all over. "No, please, don't come in." Recalling his teammate's tragic end, managing to shave only 200 LP off his opponent before falling to an inescapable chain of traps, Earl realized one thing from that short duel: this was not someone he could afford to mess with. If he dared to duel this guy, he'd die a horrible death for sure. Then, a more horrifying realization dawned on him. He stared at the strange mechanical dual disc the other held. "How are you able to use card powers here?" Kira was puzzled. "Why wouldn't I? Every cell is supposed to have a barrier," Earl said, looking increasingly alarmed. "You shouldn't be able to use card powers in here." "Just what are you?" Kira began to understand. "So, in these cells, spirits' powers are sealed and they can't summon dual discs?" But Kira wasn't a spirit, and his dual disc wasn't powered by any spirit magic. It was Kaiba Corp tech. He immediately got it. "Ah, so you can't duel in here, hey?" Even better, he wouldn't even have to go through the motions. Without another word, he summoned Jinzo and Earl in the face with a psychic shockwave. Oh wow! With his powers sealed, Earl didn't stand a chance. The psychic wave blasted a hole in his chest, and soon after, his body glowed gold and dissipated into light. As expected, after fading, he dropped a deck including his card, the vanilla, level 5, the Earl of Demise. Kira was quite pleased, scooped up the deck, and pocketed it. By now, the commotion outside had died down. Soon, a squad of guards rushed in through the hole in the bunker wall, quickly spotting the open cell. "You there! Stop!" The guards surrounded the open cell, weapons raised. "Relax." Kira strolled out, facing a ring of swords, spears, and halberds. "Don't be nervous." He slowly pulled out a small green crystal. The guards first looked wary, but as they recognized the crystal, their faces shifted from caution to confusion, then to shock and awe. "A fragment of Orichalcos." Only territory leaders or higher in the spirit world were allowed to carry such a fragment, a symbol of status. Why you are. The guards unconsciously lowered their weapons, trembling. Some even felt their knees going weak. On your side, Kira smiled, then pocketed the fragment. Unexpectedly, one guard suddenly knelt and shouted, "Messenger! Welcome, great divine messenger!" Kira. Hey? Messenger? What messenger? Meanwhile, in the same conference room, the same higher UPS. This invasion was completely unexpected. A demon executive spoke with lingering fear. It's been ages since our bunker faced a jailbreak, and this time their organization and strength were on another level. If not for the warden personally holding the line, it could have been bad. The warden said gravely, that vampire lord was truly formidable, even I could only fight him to a standstill. And he was so cunning and ruthless. Once he saw things going south, he ditched his comrades in the bunker without hesitation and escaped. Among spirits, duels could inflict real injury but weren't shadow games. Running away mid-duel was possible. The warden, worried about the bunker, focused on driving off the invaders rather than chasing them down. So the vampire lord simply slipped away mid-duel. I never thought such a strong resistance force had gathered nearby, another executive said coldly. Time to show those foolish vampires what happens to those who defy the true God. We can deal with that later. More importantly. The warden leaned forward, eyes narrowing, lips curling. This prison break might not be all bad. How so? A demon asked in confusion. Before the meeting was interrupted, we were talking about the divine messenger sent from above. The messenger could be anyone, we don't know who or where, so we must always be cautious. But thanks to this blasphemous riot, the divine messenger stepped forward, and we've now learned their true identity. The room stirred with excitement. The messenger is here. Chapter 223, Vice Warden. Commander. The four-eyed demon sidled up mysteriously to a guard. But this wasn't an ordinary guard, it was the mini-boss in charge of overseeing the other guards. Normally, prisoners wouldn't have a chance to talk to someone of his rank, but as one of the rare high-level prisoners with dueling abilities, the four-eyed demon also worked as a sort of prisoner monitor, helping manage the others. That's why, when Kira first arrived, the guards allowed him to educate the newcomers. What is it? The commander asked coolly. You know the bunker was just attacked, we're busy right now. If it's not important. It is important. The four-eyed demon cried. There's a prisoner who has no respect for the rules. He openly breaks regulations, forces us into duels, snatches our decks, and even brutally kills other inmates by dueling. He's not just beating us, he's smearing the bunker's reputation. It's insane, lawless. But to his surprise, the commander didn't even look shocked or ready to act. Instead, he just asked, "Oh? And who is this prisoner?" This attitude caught the four-eyed demon off guard, making him uneasy. Could the commander already know? If he did and still didn't care, does that mean there's something fishy going on? But since he'd already reported it, there was no turning back, especially with his deck stolen. So he pressed on, voice full of righteous indignation. It's the new guy, just arrived earlier today. If he's like this on day one, who knows what he'll do tomorrow? Oh, him. The commander nodded, not surprised at all. Did you see it with your own eyes? Of course, I did. The four-eyed demon snapped. He even took my deck. This is flagrant defiance of the church's rules. Wait, sir, what are you doing? The four-eyed demon was shocked. The commander drew his sword as if to behead him. If you saw it yourself, then you can't be allowed to leave, the commander said coldly. You know too much. The four-eyed demon. He opened his mouth, but his mind was blank, just full of question marks. What does that mean? I report a crime, but I'm the one getting punished? Think carefully, did this really happen? Or could you be mistaken? The commander said calmly. The demon's four eyes stared, totally confused, when a voice came from behind, no mistake. It happened. Hearing that, the four-eyed demon felt a wave of gratitude. Who'd risk their neck to speak up for him now? He turned and froze. Crap, isn't that the accused? Kira strolled in, smiling. I can confirm he's telling the truth. The four-eyed demon was stunned. Wait. Why do you look so pleased about it? Then he looked at the commander. See? He just confessed, aren't you going to react? Instead, the commander just scratched his head, then bowed respectfully. If you personally dealt with the prisoner, he must have done something wrong. How about we find a necromancer to revive the dead, so they can apologize, and remind them to reflect properly next time. Four-eyed demon. Did you even hear what you just said? Isn't this guy a new prisoner? But anyone watching might think he was the commander's boss. Then, out of the corner of his eye, the four-eyed demon noticed a new badge on Kira's chest. It was inscribed in demonic script, but he recognized its meaning instantly. Vice Warden. Four-eyed demon. He was completely floored. What the heck? Wasn't he just a new prisoner? How is he suddenly the Vice Warden? Seeing Kira's smiling, confident face, the four-eyed demon finally understood. Who are you to accuse the judge? Tears welled up in all four of his eyes. He was dragged away, wailing, by a guard. The commander beamed, please forgive that troublemaker, sir. Just a clown, don't let it affect your mood. No worries. Kira waved magnanimously. I came today for another reason. He paused, then asked. If I recall, you're one of the elite guards with dueling ability, right? All thanks to the organization's training, the commander said proudly. Very good. To be honest, I didn't come just for a routine inspection, I have another mission. Kira clasped his hands behind his back, speaking like a leader on a tour. After assessment, HQ feels the garrison here is behind in terms of strength. The leading officers need reinforcement. Today, I witnessed the prison break, and though you managed to repel the attack, there's plenty of room for improvement. The commander nodded, your criticisms are right, sir. So, as per the church's request, I've brought a batch of cards for reinforcement, Kira said seriously. With this new power, your stronghold here can be further consolidated. The commander's eyes lit up, heart pounding. Reinforcements from HQ. Even the warden's ace cards were rumored to come from HQ. The mighty god of Orichalcos had conquered countless worlds. Everyone knew the organization's true power was beyond any spirit's imagination. Even the tiniest benefit from HQ could mean everything to them. Thank you so much. The commander almost bowed to the ground. I won't let the organization down. Good. Now, let me see your deck. Kira nodded. Without hesitation, the commander summoned his dual disc and handed over his deck. Kira took it, glanced through it, and nodded. All right, I'll take it for research. I'll develop a strengthening plan tailored to your deck's strengths and weaknesses. Wait for my notice. Yes, sir. The commander grinned and hurriedly escorted the divine messenger out. Even after Kira's silhouette disappeared, the demon was lost in happy daydreams. The warden's strength came from HQ's guidance now, he had the same chance. Wouldn't that make him? He got happier the more he thought about it and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Jjjjjj. Chapter 224, Demon City? Maybe the demons in this bunker just weren't that bright, or maybe collecting decks for research was a thing that had happened before. Either way, it all went even smoother than Kira expected. He'd figured he might get found out and have to duel a few times to complete the prison all-deck collection. Instead, not a single duel was needed. He finished the achievement effortlessly. Those not-so-bright demons all believed they'd get their strengthened decks tomorrow, not realizing Kira would disappear taking every deck with him. Yep, it was the weekend. He'd spent the whole day grinding this dungeon. Tomorrow, it was back to class. This meant, for the demons, this divine messenger would vanish tomorrow along with all their decks. With his collection complete and his pockets full, Kira was ready to head home. But passing a break room, he overheard two guards chatting. Demon A, this week's been exhausting. First the jailbreak, then the divine messenger's inspection. Tomorrow I need to go to Mirage City and unwind. Demon B, oh? You're going? Let's go together. Of course. I'm heading to Blood Charmer Palace to party all night. Demon B's face changed. You're a Blood Charmer fan? Why? Shadowjoy Pavilion is much better. What? You heretic! Kira entered before they could start fighting, clearing his throat. The two demons jumped and straightened up. You were just talking about Blood Charmer Palace and Shadowjoy Pavilion? What are those? The two exchanged glances. Demon A, sir, maybe you don't know Mirage City is the biggest city nearby, and those are its most famous pleasure houses. Especially the succubi at Blood Charmer, they're so skilled, you'll be kept up all night. He even blushed, looking dreamy. Demon B, nonsense. The girls at Shadowjoy are even better. You Blood Charmer fans just like other people's wives. Demon A flushed, what's wrong with that? They were about to fight again. Kira ignored them and quietly left. Mirage City, sounded like a spirit city. He found a map and saw it was pretty close. It was also marked as under Orichalcosa's control. No wonder the guards could go have fun there. Kira planned to be in bed by 11, not letting today's grind tire him out for tomorrow's classes. There was time to check out this spirit city. He'd already looted everything from the bunker. The only regret was not finding the real divine messenger. His collection was stuck at 99%. So, Kira left the bunker. With all the decks gone, the bunker was now basically powerless. The demons' faces when they discovered the messenger had vanished with all their decks would be priceless. Following the map, Kira quickly found Mirage City. It was a city with a rather dark aesthetic. Unlike normal brick or stone buildings, everything here was twisted metal and sharp stone, like hellish spires jutting from the earth. Pale blue or blood-red lights shone from within, casting eerie shadows on the streets. Few people were out. Most wore black cloaks or showed off bits of monstrous skin. Sometimes, a cold wind would whip up dust and paper into swirling eddies. A demon city, hey. Kira walked on, observing the city's structure. Shouldn't it be called Demon City? Passing through a central plaza, Kira's gaze was drawn to a particularly striking building. Blood red, as if soaked in fresh blood. The roof is sharp and tall, designed with a mix of extravagance and menace. The little demons with heart-shaped tails at the door, luring in customers with flushed faces, made it obvious this was one of the clubs the two guards had argued about. Of course, as a proper duelist, Kira wasn't interested in these places. But an enemy's presence, BLS whispered in his ear. Technically, we're already in enemy territory, isn't that normal? Kira asked. No, BLS shook his head. Orichalcosa's aura and at least a region boss. I've fought them long enough to never mistake it. Here. Kira looked at the massive demon club and pondered. Even though he wasn't interested before, looks like now he'd have to check it out. All for the mission, of course. The demons at the door noticed the hesitating guest. After a brief exchange, a new demon came out. Unlike the inhuman types outside, this one was a beautiful humanoid girl probably chosen to appeal to his type. She was alluring, skin like velvet under the red moon, her open neckline showing off elegant collarbones and a graceful neck, an invitation to explore hidden depths. But despite her looks, she wasn't human. There was a heart-shaped tail behind her. Kira got it. Probably a succubus-type demon, thriving on draining others' life force. He'd seen enough of those in anime. Don't just stand outside, come in and have a look, she greeted him warmly. Seeing his lack of interest, she kept up the sales pitch, not into my type? No problem. Blood Charmer Palace has it all, whatever you like. You into fur or no fur? Demons? Beast folk? We even have dragon girls. Kira. Wow, demon cities really do know how to entertain cultured people. Chapter 225, The Divine Messenger. Thank you for waiting, dear guest. A few minutes later, the female demon arrived at the private room Kira had selected. She was dressed even more provocatively than at the entrance, deliberately swaying her hips as she walked, her black tail flicking back and forth. It had to be said that the room's decor was quite exquisite, filled with a faint exotic fragrance. In the center was a large, soft couch, surrounded by thin veils and a delicate table set with all sorts of unknown demon realm snacks. I need to ask 2 questions first, Kira gestured for the demon to stop. She blinked and gave a flattering smile. With such a generous guest, you can ask anything, not just 2 questions. I promise I'll tell you everything I know. Although he appeared generous, it wasn't Kira's own money, after all, he didn't have demon currency. It was all the warden's money. Before leaving the bunker, he'd swiped a handful of bills from the warden. He didn't recognize demon currency or know the exact amount, but seeing the demon girls look like she was paying respects to her father, he figured it was a lot. Who is the guest in the room directly above this one? Kira asked. The demon girl froze, apparently not expecting that question. She hesitated, then shook her head. I don't know. You don't know, or you don't want to say. She gave an awkward smile. You know the rules here, guest. All guest information is secret, each room is completely independent. We promise that whatever happens in any room stays in that room. We'd never leak your information either, right? Fair enough, Kira nodded thoughtfully. So each room here is completely independent? Only one guest per room. Of course. She proudly patted her chest, causing it to wobble. Got it. Kira nodded. The demon blinked again. Then, can we get started? What? Oh, sure. It might hurt a bit, so bear with it. The demon immediately giggled. I've heard that line before. But don't worry, I may look delicate, but I'm pretty sturdy. I can handle it. Good. Kira nodded, then looked behind her. Do it. The demon spun around instinctively only to see the silent magician had somehow appeared behind her, expressionless, and brought her staff crashing down on the demon's head. Bang! The demon's vision went dark, she collapsed, instantly knocked out. Silent magician retracted her staff, silently returning to Kira's side. Was it his imagination, or did the silent magician, though she didn't speak or show emotion, have a look in her eyes suggesting, "I've had enough of you"? Kira ignored the unconscious demon on the floor and asked, "Are you sure it's right above us?" "That's right," BLS replied. "We're close enough that I can be sure." "All right." He stepped through the window onto a stone balcony outside. Silent magician joined him, and together they leaped up to the platform outside the upper floor's window. Kira crouched outside, quietly observing instead of barging in. Inside, a voice called out, "Divine Messenger, you are so powerful." Then a gruff male voice, "Don't call me that. I'm inspecting incognito this time, only you know, and you must not leak it." "All right, whatever you say," the woman replied with a laugh. "But, you've been here for several days now. Is it really okay not to be inspecting things? There's no rush. I bet the guys in the bunker are racking their brains to figure out who the Divine Messenger is, all anxious and tense. Let's keep them guessing a few days longer." The gruff man chuckled. Kira. So, this was the real Divine Messenger? Skipping work, hiding out here to have fun, probably even using public funds. Kira thought, your Orichalco's anti-corruption work has its challenges. But fate was on his side, he'd complete his 100% collection achievement for the bunker after all. Boom! A sudden attack and explosion erupted where he was hiding. The window and wall shattered, smoke billowing everywhere. The gruff voice snapped coldly, "Someone dares to spy on me? Tired of living?" But as the smoke cleared, they saw a milky white magical barrier around the broken wall. Kira stood unharmed within it, smiling. "Surprisingly alert, aren't you, Divine Messenger?" Now he could see the Divine Messenger was a red beastman with boar-like tusks and a powerful physique. A dual monster, Great Angus, level 4, 1800 ATK. The woman inside was also a beastman, with a panther-like appearance, elegant body, deep midnight blue fur with silver starlight, and sparkling cat eyes. Well, maybe a connoisseur could appreciate her, but not Kira. Still, she was just an upright female panther. "You have the power of a spirit, do you?" The Divine Messenger said coldly. "Are you a duelist defying the Divine Church?" He narrowed his eyes and raised his arm, and a crimson duel disc appeared, along with a deck. "I don't know which tribe or path you're from. But to dare stand before me, a Divinely Messenger, you're dead." Kira smiled without replying, activating his dual disc. Duel. X2. Kira, LP 4000. Divine Messenger, LP 4000. "I'll go first." Draw. The Divine Messenger drew, glanced at his 4 cards, and smirked. Drew the key card blessed by the gods right off the bat. He raised a card with his massive claw. Field spell, the seal of Orichalcos activate. A beam of green light, a 6-pointed star beneath their feet. The sinister barrier enveloped the field, green light piercing the sky. Immediately, surrounding demons took notice, casting fearful glances, some even knelt outside in reverence. After all, this was a demon city occupied by Orichalcos. Seeing its barrier was like witnessing divinity. "Looks like your luck's run out, kid," the Divine Messenger sneered. "Is that so? Now you're stuck here with me, whether you like it or not," Kira smiled. Divine Messenger. Chapter 226, The Immortal Baboon. The Divine Messenger frowned. "What's up with this guy? Isn't he even a little scared of the seal of Orichalcos? Normally, just feeling its energy would make someone's soul tremble." The Divine Messenger scrutinized Kira but quickly calmed himself. No matter what, with the seal activated, his power was at maximum. No matter where this guy came from, he'd just have to defeat him and offer him up as a sacrifice to the Orichalco's god. I activate the spell Graceful Charity. Draw 3, discard 2. He drew 3 cards, then discarded 2 to the graveyard, as if his blood-red dual disc devoured them. Then I set a monster and a card, and end my turn. Kira, then it's my turn. Draw. He drew a monster card. Normal summon, Azura Priest. Azura Priest, 1700 ATK. Azura Priest, a level 4 spirit monster, able to attack all opponents' monsters once each. In the early days of the TCG, it was a top-notch beatstick. Azura Priest attacks the set monster. Azura Priest's 6 arms hurled daggers, shredding the set monster. You attacked Nimble Momonga, the Divine Messenger said. When this card is destroyed by battle, I gain 1000 LP, then special summon up to 2 more Nimble Momonga in face-down defense from my deck. I special summon 2 more. Divine Messenger, LP 4000 LP 5000. 2 new set monsters appeared. Nimble Momonga was a great floaty monster back then, giving LP when destroyed but piling up tribute fodder for bigger summons if left alone. Azura Priest's effect lets it attack all your monsters, Kira said, waving his hand. I attack the other 2 Nimble Momonga. Azura Priest hurled daggers again, shredding the remaining set monsters. Each time a Nimble Momonga is destroyed, I gain 1000 LP. Divine Messenger, LP 5000 LP 7000. And that's not all. The Divine Messenger's lips curled into a fierce smile. When you destroy the last Momonga, the effect of a card in my graveyard activates. The Divine Messenger shouted, raising his hand. Green Baboon, Defender of the Forest. When a beast monster I control is destroyed and sent to the grave, I can pay 1000 LP to special summon this from my hand or graveyard. Kira instinctively raised an eyebrow, thinking, isn't that only when a beast is destroyed by an effect? But then he remembered this was the GX era, and that was the original, pre-errata effect. Anyone who played during GX remembers Green Baboon's potential. It was the core of beast-type Baboon beat decks until Konami nerfed it with rulings and rewrites. In the early days, the ruling allowed it to trigger even when beasts were destroyed by battle. So, as long as there was a Baboon in hand or grave, all beast monsters had a layer of destruction protection. Any destruction could trigger a chain reaction. This changed in 2009, the 5DS era, when it was changed to only trigger for beasts destroyed by effects, not battle. This gutted the deck's resilience. But now, Kira was facing the pre-errata version. And if the Divine Messenger was using a Baboon beat deck, he could be facing the full GX era meta variant. No wonder they say the organization's Divine Messenger are extraordinary, Kira thought. Using a top GX era deck here was like mowing the lawn. But Kira narrowed his eyes, a smile forming. He was looking forward to this duel. This trip to the spirit world was worth it. Divine Messenger, I pay 1000 LP to revive Green Baboon, Defender of the Forest. Divine Messenger, LP 7000 LP 6000. A huge Green Baboon leaped onto the field, thumping its chest and glaring at Azura Priest. Green Baboon, Defender of the Forest, 2600 ATK. Then I activate my set card, Super Rush recklessly. I destroy one of my own face-up beast monsters, then return one of your monsters to the deck. He paused, a cruel smile on his face. I destroy my own Baboon, and send your Azura Priest back to the deck. The Baboon roared, charging like a cannonball. Azura Priest turned into a golden light and returned to Kira's deck, while Baboon exploded into dust. But at this moment, the effect of another Baboon I discarded to the graveyard triggers. The Divine Messenger smirked. When a beast on my field is destroyed, I pay 1000 LP to special summon Baboon from the grave. Divine Messenger, LP 6000 LP 5000. A new Baboon emerged, thumping its chest. Green Baboon, Defender of the Forest, 2600 ATK. And with the seal of Orichalcos, Baboon's ATK increases. Baboon's forehead glowed with a 6-pointed star, its body wreathed in green flames. Green Baboon, Defender of the Forest, ATK 2600 3100. Divine Messenger, ha ha ha, see? This is the strongest power granted to me by the gods. Kira pondered. Green Baboon was strong for this era. But he realized Azura Priest was a spirit monster, which would have returned to hand at the end of the turn anyway. The Divine Messenger had wasted his trap. But then again, the Archbishop hadn't even recognized Jinzo. It seemed the spirit world's knowledge of cards was limited, so not knowing spirit monster quirks wasn't surprising. In the anime world, Kira's card pool knowledge was already a big advantage, and in the spirit world, even more so. The divine messenger stood with hands on hips, smug. I don't know who you are, but you'll regret your foolish challenge. Before the immortal baboon, you don't stand a chance. Chapter 227, Misunderstanding. Bonus. The baboon is indeed powerful, Kira nodded. It's too late for regrets now. But the divine messenger sensed something wrong. The guy was too calm, he didn't sound troubled, but instead seemed to have a weird glint in his eye as if he'd found a rare prey. The divine messenger shivered. What's wrong with this guy? I set 2 cards and end my turn, Kira said. The divine messenger shook off his unease. No matter, I just need to win and offer you up to the gods, he shouted. My turn. Draw. Go, green baboon direct attack. Baboon roared, thumping its chest, then leaped at Kira with a punch. I activate my set card, Kira snapped his fingers. Continuous trap ultimate offering. During my main phase or your battle phase, I can pay 500 LP to normal summon a monster. Kira, LP 4000-3500. The divine messenger frowned, but you can only normal summon level 4 or lower monsters, not enough to beat my baboon. I normal summoned Tsukuyomi, Kira said. Tsukuyomi, 1100 ATK. When Tsukuyomi is summoned, I can turn one monster face down. So, good night, baboon. Nanny. The divine messenger's face changed. A crescent moon appeared, and the raging baboon suddenly got sleepy, stumbling like a drunk before collapsing face down. Snoring sounds even came from under the card. Divine messenger. Looks like your baboon needs a nap, Kira smiled. TCH, fine, battle phase ends, the divine messenger said. But now you have a monster. I normal summon Playful Possum. Playful Possum, ATK 800-1300. Then I activate the quick play spell Half Shut. One monster's ATK is halved and it can't be destroyed by battle until the end of the turn. I'll have my own possum's ATK. Playful Possum, ATK 1300-650. Playful Possum's effect, during my main phase, if you have a monster with higher ATK, I can destroy Possum. The divine messenger gestured grandly. Die, Playful Possum. The possum peeked at Tsukuyomi, screamed in terror, and self-destructed in a puff of smoke. At this instant, the effect of another baboon in my graveyard triggers, the divine messenger sneered. When a beast is destroyed, I pay 1000 LP to special summon baboon from the graveyard. Return, green baboon. Divine messenger, LP 5000 LP 4000. A new baboon appeared, roaring. Green baboon, defender of the forest, 2600 ATK. Playful Possum self-destructs, which seems pointless unless paired with baboon. It can revive every turn and trigger baboon's effect, making an endless, renewable resource and a key part of the immortal combo. The divine messenger shouted, I told you, baboon is immortal. No matter how many times. I activate my set card trap, Floodgate Trap Hole, Kira said. When a monster is summoned, it's turned face down and can't change battle positions. Divine messenger. So the second baboon slipped into a pit and was set face down, snoring. Baboon could revive endlessly, but if banished face down, it was as good as gone. Clever brat. But the divine messenger kept his cool. I set a card and end my turn. End phase Tsukuyomi returns to my hand, Kira said, as Tsukuyomi turned to gold and flew back to his hand. Divine messenger. Only now did he realize the problem. Tsukuyomi could set a monster each time it's summoned, and with ultimate offering, Kira could summon it every turn even on the opponent's turn. So every turn, he'd get one monster set? The divine messenger's pupil shrank. What kind of combo is this? Kira, my turn. Draw. I activate Card of Adversity. If my opponent controls a special summoned monster and I control none, I draw 2 cards. Anime card. He drew, then revealed a card. I summon DD. Warrior Lady. DD. Warrior Lady, ATK 1500. Divine Messenger. He recognized this card, a monster that banishes itself and its opponent in battle. Baboon could revive endlessly, but not if banished. He now had 2 face-down baboons, but one was locked by Floodgate Trap Hole and as good as gone. If the other got banished, he couldn't allow it. I activate Torrential Tribute. When a monster is summoned, destroy all monsters on the field. A blue torrent swept the field, destroying both baboons and DD. Warrior Lady. And now, when a beast is destroyed, I can activate the effect of my third green baboon in hand. The Divine Messenger laughed. I pay 1000 LP to special summon my third baboon. Again, the old effect. The modern baboon can only trigger for face-up beasts, but back then, even face-downs worked. Divine Messenger, LP 4000 LP 3000. Green Baboon number 3 summon. Green Baboon, Defender of the Forest, ATK 2600. And with Seal of Auric Halcos, ATK increases. Green Baboon, Defender of the Forest, ATK 2600 3100. And with the 2 face-down baboons in the graveyard, they could revive again whenever a beast was destroyed. Ha ha ha, see? This is the power of a god-chosen Divine Messenger. The Divine Messenger swelled with pride. You may be a special duelist, but this power is insurmountable. Kira smiled. Is that so? What? The Divine Messenger frowned. How could this guy stay so calm after seeing Baboon's immortal setup? Ultimate offering. I pay 500 LP to normal summon Mystic Tomato. Kira, LP 3500 LP 3000. Then, I use ultimate offering again, paying 500 LP to tribute Mystic Tomato and tribute summon. He raised his hand. Level 6 GAAP the Divine Soldier. GAAP the Divine Soldier, ATK 2200. Humph, you go to all this trouble to get a tribute monster. The Divine Messenger sneered. Still no match for my baboon. I activate ultimate offering again, Kira said calmly. Pay 500 LP, summon worm goals from hand. Kira, LP 2500 LP 2000. Worm goals, ATK 1500. Once more, ultimate offering. Normal summon Tsukuyomi. Kira, LP 2000 LP 1500. Tsukuyomi, ATK 1100. The Divine Messenger frowned. That card again? I see Baboon's def is only 1800. If you set Baboon, GAAP can destroy it. But then he sneered. But I have 2 more baboons in the graveyard. Baboon is immortal, destroying it like this is pointless. Kira ignored him. Tsukuyomi's effect, on summon or flip summon, turn a monster face down. I choose Tsukuyomi herself. Divine Messenger. What kind of play was that? Tsukuyomi chanted and turned herself face down. But GAAP the Divine Soldier's effect, as long as it's on the field, all monsters must be in face-up attack position. So, Tsukuyomi is immediately flipped back face-up. Tsukuyomi, ATK 1000. Divine Messenger. He was utterly confused. What was the point? Kira, now, Worm Gul's effect. Each time a face-down monster is flipped face-up, this card gains a worm counter and 300 ATK. Worm Gul's, ATK 1500 1800. The Divine Messenger frowned, only 300 points. Tsukuyomi's effect, when flipped, it can turn a monster face down, Kira said with a smile. Though GAAP the Divine Soldier restricts flip monsters' effects, Tsukuyomi isn't a flip monster, so she's not affected. So, Tsukuyomi turns herself face down again. And because GAAP the Divine Soldier is on the field, she immediately flips to attack position. Worm Gul's gains another 300 ATK. The Divine Messenger's pupil shrank, his jaw dropped, realizing, with horror, this was an infinite loop. Tsukuyomi flips herself face down, then GAAP the Divine Soldier flips her up again, repeating infinitely each time. Worm Gul's gains 300 ATK. Kira, that's right. After infinite loops, Worm Gul's has Worm Gul's, ATK. Infinite attack. The Divine Messenger's face twisted in terror. No, it couldn't be true. He trembled, his once brutal face now only fear and confusion. Finally, he realized he'd been the blind one. This guy was a true monster. But how unlucky was he? He'd just wanted some fun at the club. Why did he have to run into this kind of dueling monster? Alright. Kira folded his arms, Worm Gul looming behind him with infinite ATK. Any last words? The Divine Messenger trembled, forcing a smile uglier than a cry. Misunderstanding. But Kira wasn't listening. Worm goals, attack green baboon. Let's see if your immortality can withstand this. Oh wow! A wail rang out, echoing across the land until the green barrier drew away that filthy soul. Divd Messenger, LP 3000. Chapter 228, The Passing Legend. The duel was settled quickly. The seal of Orichalcos began to contract, the six-pointed star spinning in reverse until it shrank to the feet of the burly beastman. The soul was drawn away by the green light, absorbed into the sky, vanishing without a trace. Even as he finally collapsed to his knees, the divine messenger's face was still full of shock and deep regret. Regret that he hadn't run for his life the moment he met this monster. If he could have another chance, he'd never, ever duel someone like this again. Your deck's not bad, but your skills still need some work. Kira stepped forward. The soulless body of the large beastman quickly glowed gold and disintegrated into sparkling points of light. Kira bent down and picked up the deck. This opponent's deck was strong, but Kira could sense that his level of destiny power was lacking. Even with the seal's boost, he was still a notch below Kira as he was now. So, while the deck was a top-tier one for its era, it wasn't too tough for Kira to handle. In fact, with his persistent training and the deepening power of the spirits, Kira's destiny power was now only slightly below that of the top characters from the original story. Even disregarding deck construction and just talking about draws, he was already among the elite in the dueling world. So to him now, this deck was a bit wasted in the Divine Messenger's hands. But that didn't matter. From now on, the deck will be in the right hands and realize its true value. If the Divine Messenger could know that his deck would shine brighter in someone else's hands, he could probably rest easy. Kira tucked the deck away, quite satisfied with his haul. Honestly, his body here was just a virtual projection, he'd vanish from the spirit world as soon as he logged out, so the decks he collected here couldn't be taken back directly. But that was fine. He couldn't take them himself, but his spirits could bring them back to reality for him. Also, while the Divine Messenger's build was close to top-tier baboon decks, it was mostly just specialized around green baboon, its strength mainly came from how powerful the card was by itself. But his deck still differed from the true meta builds. Kira figured he could study it later and probably optimize it further. Once perfected, it could be a very powerful deck. Besides the deck, he also picked up some trinkets. For example, a fragment of Orichalcos. He recognized this now, it was like a badge of rank within the Orichalcos cult. But this time, he also found a blank card. That surprised Kira a bit. White cards, blanks, weren't unheard of in the original anime and were always overpowered. The first appearance might have been in DM's Orichalcos arc, the blank card Pegasus printed. Everyone knows the biggest advantage of blanks is they can become anything you want. The blank space is left for you to print whatever effect you need on the spot, depending on the duel's situation, limited only by your imagination. But not just anyone could use them. Usually, you had to have a jellyfish head or a yugi in your name, and the atmosphere had to be right. Kira thought that while his destiny power had improved, he was probably still far from being able to print cards at will. Getting a blank card felt like more than he could handle. But the BLS quickly corrected this thought. That's a mission card, BLS said. Mission card? Yes. We've heard about these from captured evil god minions before, but this is my first time seeing one, BLS explained. Simply put, it's a tool the evil god uses to assign tasks to his minions. When summoned by the evil god, the once blank mission card will display an image, and the text below will give the task. I see. Kira pondered. So if the mission card showed instructions, it meant they might, to some extent, get wind of what New Doma was up to in the spirit world. If lucky, maybe they could even get involved. If so, wouldn't that mean he was unknowingly getting closer to infiltrating the enemy's inner circle? Of course, Kira hadn't planned anything that far ahead, he was just going with the flow. Even being mistaken as the Divine Messenger in the bunker, and somehow ending up as Vice Warden, hadn't been his intention. As the saying goes, plans can't keep up with changes, and no matter how well you plan, fate has its way. Maybe that's what destiny power is all about. Anyway, the day was done. Time to call it a night. Kira stood up after collecting the loot and swaggered out the front door. Every demon he passed looked at him like they'd seen a ghost, scrambling to avoid him, probably more terrified than if they'd met Satan himself. And it was no wonder. The commotion from the duel had been huge. The seal of Orichalcos had already drawn a big crowd, anyone with the right to wield such a barrier was a high-ranking figure in the cult unreachable for common citizens. Then, many had witnessed that big shot get utterly defeated within his barrier, even seeing a terrifying creature with infinite attack power appear. This wasn't reality, and duels weren't just virtual projections. A creature with infinite attack power in a duel would exert a soul-level pressure on any watching spirit. Just seeing it would leave them petrified. Especially seeing the divine messenger get one shot into mosaic by worm gulls, those onlookers probably wouldn't sleep for a week. As Kira exited, a demon woman nervously ran up and handed him a wad of cash. "Sir, you forgot this." Kira was surprised. Wasn't this the entry fee he'd paid? But since it wasn't his money, and demon currency was useless outside anyway, plus he still had plenty left, he waved it off generously. "Keep it." The demon woman forced a smile. "It's better if you take it, sir. To be honest, we're afraid to keep it." Kira didn't waste any more time and just took it back. After that, the Mirage City never saw this duelist again. But from that day on, the legend of the mysterious passing duelist whose true identity no one knew remained in the city. Chapter 229, The Greatest Duel. Link System Logout. Back in reality, Kira took off the gear to find it was already past 10 at night. Weekend days always passed quickly. Especially when you spent the whole day grinding dungeons and farming gears online. But at least the grind paid off. He'd picked up a lot of unclaimed decks, even a top tier one. Quite a haul. He'd spend the next few days sorting, selling what he didn't need, and thinking about new builds with the rest. He hadn't felt hungry while grinding, but now that he was resting, the hunger hit. If he were at Red Dorm, the cafeteria would be closed by now, and the snack shop too. But the thoughtful Yellow Dorm had a 24-hour window for students' late-night cravings. He pulled out his student terminal and checked the cafeteria menu. Curry fried rice, curry beef noodles, curry mashed potatoes. He silently closed the menu. He suddenly lost his appetite. Yellow Dorm had a lot going for it, but thanks to dorm head Sardir, the curry concentration was a bit too high. Admittedly, the dorm head was a curry master, but even the best food gets old if you eat it every day. Others might not notice, but Kira was just tired of curry lately. Usually, the cafeteria had plenty of non-curry options, but most windows were closed late at night, so there wasn't much to choose from. Poor planning. He should have kept snacks in his room. Just as Kira was thinking about going to bed early, he noticed an unread message notification on his terminal. He opened it. It was from Jaden, sent an hour ago. "We're having an outdoor barbecue, smells amazing. Wanna join?" There was even a hand-drawn chibi of Jaden himself flashing a V sign. Abstract as it was, it somehow captured Jaden's cheerful, jellyfish-haired smile and peace sign. Kira chuckled and replied, "Still there?" Jaden quickly responded, "Of course. Get over here." So Kira got up and headed toward the spot Jaden had marked on the outskirts of Red Dorm. The night was deep, stars scattered above, and moonlight streamed through the trees, laying a silver ribbon across the winding path. As he neared, he heard laughter and banter, and the rich, savory scent of barbecue. "Oh, Kira's here." Jaden was the first to spot him, cheerfully standing up and handing over a skewer from the fire. "Saved this just for you." "Thanks. I was just getting hungry and wondering what to eat." Kira accepted the skewer without hesitation. He sat by the fire, joining the group. Sure enough, early GX was all about easygoing school life. Jaden looked so carefree now, spending his days skipping class, dueling, fishing, or having outdoor adventures. Viewers back when GX first aired probably never imagined how drastically the tone would shift later on. "Whoa, there's a rabbit!" Cirrus exclaimed. "Hey!" Chumley looked where Cirrus pointed. "I don't see anything." "You must be seeing things." "No way. I swear on my dignity there's really a rabbit." Kira quietly chewed his barbecue, thinking that Cirrus's dignity wasn't worth much anyway after all. He's Cirrus. "Look. It's right there." Cirrus rolled up his sleeves. "Don't run." He then dragged Chumley off to catch the rabbit. "You two, don't wander too far and get lost," Jaden called after them. Their voices echoed faintly from the woods. "Sigh, what can you do with them?" Jaden laughed, flipping his skewer. The meat sizzled, fat dripping onto the coals and sending up bursts of smoke, blending the aromas of barbecue and burning wood. "Really, I'm glad you could come," Jaden said as he cooked, smiling. "To be honest, I was a bit disappointed when you didn't reply for so long. Aren't your roommates here? Kira took a bite. Jaden's grilling skills were impressive, crispy outside, tender inside. He'd done a lot of outdoor cooking before. Yeah, they are. But, how should I put it? Jaden stared at the flickering flames, a little lost in thought. Remember that time we accidentally ended up in the spirit world together? That guy Shell said I was like him, said I'd never really let anyone understand me. Oh, that. Don't take it to heart. But Jaden shook his head. I can't help thinking about it. And the more I do, the more I feel maybe he was right. He paused, as if recalling something. Did I ever tell you? My memories of childhood are fuzzy. Sometimes I feel like there's something really important I should remember. Occasionally I wake up from dreams, but no matter how hard I try, I just can't recall what it was. Kira said nothing. He knew exactly what was going on. It was Yubel, Jaden's first spirit. After Yubel was sent into space by Kaiba Corp's rocket, Jaden had frequent nightmares. Later, his parents, worried, used Kaiba Corp's tech to erase his memories of Yubel, severing their connection. After that, he forgot all about it. Of course, I know it's normal not to remember childhood, Jaden smiled. But, looking back, I was lonely for a while. My parents were always busy, and rarely home. And for some reason, I never had friends as a kid. Everyone seemed to avoid me. I always felt different from everyone. No matter how hard I tried, how enthusiastic I was, it was hard to find someone who truly understood me, someone I could talk to. This was the first time Kira had heard this, but he could guess why. It was Yubel's fault. Any kid who lost to young Jaden at cards got targeted by Yubel. The other kids or their parents must have heard about it and avoided him. After we moved, things got a bit better as I grew up. I was always surrounded by classmates and friends. But thinking about it now, maybe just like Shell said, in the end, I never really had someone I could call a true friend. Maybe it's always been that way, and I just got used to it. Jaden stopped and smiled. But it's strange. Ever since coming back from the spirit world, after talking and especially dueling with you, I started to have this thought for the first time. Maybe, this is what friendship really means. Kira. I heard from Sai's brother Zane, Jaden said. He told me, this week, the selection duel for the Academy's representative against North Academy is about to begin. He said he'd nominate me. If nothing goes wrong, it'll probably be between you and me. He paused, looking at Kira seriously. So, when the time comes, please go all out. I want to see you give it your all. Kira closed his eyes and smiled. Understood. He waved his skewer. Think of it as repayment for the barbecue you treated me to. Jaden beamed and nodded energetically. Then let's have the best duel ever. Chapter 230, The Representative Duel. Bonus. Nanny. Duel Academy, top floor meeting room. Professor Crowlier slapped the table and stood up, eyes wide in disbelief. Why do we have to change the representative? For the friendly duel between Duel Academy and North Academy, isn't it fine to have Zane Truesdale as the rep again, like last year? He pointed at Zane, standing off to the side. I strongly recommend that we send Zane Truesdale again this year, to keep up our winning streak. Chancellor Shepard leaned back in his chair. But North Academy has made it clear they'll send a first year this year. If we send an upperclassman, it'd feel like bullying. A first-year student? Crowlier exclaimed. Yes, Shepard nodded. So, it's more appropriate for us to send a first year too. He turned to Zane. What do you think, Zane? Zane replied calmly, I don't mind. Shepard nodded. So, the question is, who should be the new representative? Any suggestions or recommendations? The teachers glanced at each other. No one spoke up at first. Jaden Yuki, Zane broke the silence. Crowlier's face was the first to darken. A Slifer Red Slacker as the representative? Oh. Even Shepard seemed a bit surprised Zane would nominate Jaden. Lyman smiled quietly, stroking his beloved cat Pharaoh. Looks like this is about to become troublesome. The teachers all had odd expressions and began discussing. Jaden Yuki? Seriously? Is that appropriate? Everyone knew Jaden's dueling skill was top-notch. No teacher doubted his combat ability. But no matter how strong he was still a Slifer Red, and there had never been a Slifer Red representing the Academy. Especially since, even among the Reds, Jaden was famous for being a slacker. He'd failed most of his classes, slept through lectures, skipped assignments, and was always absent, a problem student in every teacher's eyes, with a terrible reputation. So, the suggestion that he represent the academy seemed inappropriate to most. "I've dueled him," Zane said. "I think he could show us an interesting duel." Crowlier, always an advocate for elitism, was practically fuming. Letting a slifer Red dorm flunky represent the school? Where would their elite reputation go? Such a ridiculous suggestion should be rejected out of hand. Sounds like a good idea, Shepard smiled. His skill is obvious to all. Having him represent us is a good idea. Nanny? Crowlier was dumbfounded. Chancellor, are you serious? How can you let a slacker be the representative? If there are no other candidates. Only then did Crowlier react. Right, there was still a chance. As long as someone could challenge Jaden. Then, I nominate Fujiki Kira. Crowlier said quickly. Oh? This time a yellow dorm student. Shepard looked pleased. He is a special and powerful student. This year's two most promising new stars were from red and yellow dorms, quite the surprise, since the Rookie King usually came from Obelisk Blue. Good, let them duel. Whoever wins will represent us. What do you think, Chancellor? Crowlier was excited. Oh, I. Shepard turned to Zane. What do you think, Zane? Even the Chancellor sought a student's advice, but no teacher found that odd. Not only Zane was the top student, but everyone knew he was also Shepard's disciple. Shepard had been an instructor at the Cyber Art Dojo before coming to Duel Academy, and his proudest successor was Zane. Of course, I have no objections, Zane smiled. And so, the matter was settled. Professor Lyman was the first to announce the decision in alchemy class. Kira and Jaden would duel for the spot. The match was set for the weekend. The two duelists already knew in advance, so neither was surprised. Jaden was excited. He'd been looking forward to this duel since he enrolled. Kira was calm as always, spending the week as usual. His lab had expanded again, with new members, even some research professors joining. The department was now split into modules, with several teams developing projects based on his ideas. There were some new results recently. For example, he'd acquired 2 cards from Kaiba Corp. One was the president's favorite Crush card Virus. Honestly, Kira didn't care for the anime version, which required destroying an opponent's monster by battle and risking fueling their graveyard. He preferred the old TCG version. Trap card, Crush card Virus. Effect, tribute 1 dark monster with 1000 or less ATK. Destroy all opponent's monsters with 1500 or more ATK in their hand, field, and any they draw for 3 turns. That version was banned for years, only released after it was nerfed in 2015. Before the ban, there were even specialized meta decks for it, and it shook up the environment. Kira was now building around it. The other card he got from Kaiba was even more interesting. Originally used by Kaiba in the famous Sky Arena duel with Yami Yugi. Spell card Lullaby of Obedience. In the anime, you paid 1000 LP, declared a level 8+ monster name, and if the opponent had it, you added it to your hand. In the TCG, the effect was even stronger, pay 2000 LP, declare any monster name, and if the opponent's deck contains it, you can add it to your hand or special summon it ignoring its conditions in attack position. Being able to steal a monster from the opponent's deck is rare and powerful, potentially a huge mind game if you know their deck. A week passed quickly with classes, research, and daily dueling practice. Chapter 231, Kira vs Jaden. Duel. Times 2. Kira, LP 4000. Jaden, LP 4000. The stadium was packed early on the weekend, with most of the academy's students gathering to watch. Kira and Jaden were already well-known freshmen in the academy. Now that more than half of the first semester had passed, both had proven their unique strength among the new students with real results. So, this duel would not only decide who would represent the main campus, but also who truly deserved the title of Rookie King this year. I'm going first. My turn, draw. Jaden drew a card and immediately played another from his hand. Spell card Emergency Call. Add an elemental hero from my deck to my hand. Jaden searched his deck and added a card. I add elemental hero Bublemon to my hand. Then, in defense position, I normal summon Bublemon. Elemental hero Bublemon, def 1200. When Bublemon is successfully summoned and I have no other cards on my field, I draw 2 cards. Anime effect. Starting right off with a Pot of Greed effect, Jaden refilled his hand. Then I activate the spell card Take Over 5, send the top 5 cards of my deck to the graveyard. Anime original card. A card unique to the anime, and one of Jaden's staples. It mills 5 from the top of the deck, and on your next turn, by banishing this card from the graveyard along with the same named card from the deck, you can draw 1. Very powerful. Kira smiled strangely and narrowed his eyes when he saw this card. That card, hey, interesting. My turn's over. Jaden smiled. This semester, I've dueled all kinds of people, including some really strong ones. But the one I most wanted to face is you, Kira. He glanced at his hand, and his deck. To be honest, your duels always inspire me. I feel like I've learned a lot and gotten much stronger. But I also feel that only by dueling you can I truly prove it. Interesting, I feel the same way, Kira smiled. For him, dueling Jaden was also the best test of his progress this semester. My turn, draw. Kira said solemnly. I'm going to activate the same card. With a wave of his hand, the image of a spell card appeared before him. Spell card Take Over 5. Send the top 5 cards of my deck to the graveyard. Jaden. The audience stirred. It's the same card as Jaden. Cirrus exclaimed. This semester, Kira and Jaden have been learning from each other and influencing each other. So their card choices have started to overlap, said top commentator Misawa, already in position. Alexis smiled, that's nice. Kira also sent the top 5 cards of his deck to the grave. Jaden laughed and rubbed his nose, surprising to see you use the same card as me. What did I say earlier? Strong duelists tend to make similar choices. Kira just smiled and continued, then I normal summon Lancer Archfiend. Lancer Archfiend, ATK 1600. Lancer Archfiend attacks elemental hero Bublemon, Kira declared, waving his hand. Lancer Archfiend charged, dual blade slashing at the crouched Bublemon. At this moment, Lancer Archfiend's effect activates, when my monster attacks a defense position monster, once per turn, if my attack is higher than their defense, I deal piercing damage, Kira continued. So Lancer Archfiend destroys Bublemon and deals piercing damage. The sharp blades cut through, Bubblemon's body split and exploded with a bang. Jaden, LP 3600. Then I set 2 cards face down in my back row and end my turn. My turn, draw, Jaden said. During the standby phase, I banish Take Over 5 in my graveyard along with the same named card from my deck to draw 1 card. The spell card's image emerged from the grave, then faded in a flash of golden light. Jaden drew another card. Having accelerated his draw again, Jaden's lips curled up as he looked at his new card, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Kira recognized that look. Whenever Jaden was about to summon his cool heroes and show off the monsters he was proud of, he'd always have that expectant expression. Here we go. Jaden raised the card in his hand. I activate the spell card Polymerization. Calling forth my elemental hero. Kira smiled. Sorry, Jaden, but I can't let you do that. Hey! If we're both going all out, not making targeted adjustments would be disrespectful, Kira grinned. So today I've specially prepared this card. Continuous Trap, Non-Fusion Area. As long as this card is on the field, neither of us can fusion summon in this duel. Jaden gasped. What? No fusion? The spectators were stunned. Everyone who knew Jaden knew he used a hero deck focused on lower level monsters, and all his big hitters relied on fusion. If he couldn't use fusion, half his power was sealed. And this was even more brutal than the original anime's cursed seal of the forbidden spell that just negated polymerization. Jaden's deck still had field spells like Fusion Gate and Miracle Fusion that could fuse from the graveyard. Even if one fusion method was blocked, he had other ways. But non-fusion area wasn't so limited, it blocked fusion summoning itself. No matter what, all those fancy fusion tricks were dead on arrival. Well, that's Kira for you, Misawa mused. Definitely his style. Non-fusion area was rare in this world, not just anyone could get it. But everyone knew Kira had good connections with the top card dealers. Hey? Now Jaden can't fusion summon at all, Cirrus was dumbfounded. How can he fight like this? It's too unfair. Cirrus imagined himself in that situation. Most people would be devastated, frustrated, maybe even give up before the duel was over. But the one on the field was not Cirrus, it was Jaden. Jaden lowered his head, pondering for a few seconds. Then suddenly looked up, excited, as expected. You really are amazing, Kira, targeting the weakness of my elemental hero deck. Haha, this is what your duels are all about. Chapter 232, Fusion Lock. Jaden's reaction surprised many in the audience. Some students, traumatized by the Yellow King, felt sorry for Jaden, others gleefully watched the drama unfold. But no one expected that this jellyfish-haired boy, faced with such a nasty tactic, would be excited. Did he have some kind of masochistic streak? Well, it's a little surprising, but that's just like Jaden, Alexis muttered from the stands. Yet, at some point, Zane had appeared, arms crossed. That kind of passion for dueling, almost obsessive, is what makes him so special. No one else can match it. If fusion is blocked, then my fusion spell is wasted, Jaden smiled, scratching his head as he looked at the continuous trap on Kira's field. Man, that's a headache. Kira smiled back, all right, now you can't use fusion summons. What will you do now? Who knows? I'll just take it one step at a time, Jaden grinned. If you think my heroes can only fuse, you're dead wrong. I summon Elemental Hero Wildheart. Elemental Hero Wildheart, ATK 1500. Then I equip Wildheart with his signature equip spell, Cyclone Boomerang. The equipped monster's ATK increases by 500. Elemental Hero Wildheart, ATK 1500 2000. Even without fusion, heroes combined with spells can reach high-level strength. And Wildheart is unaffected by trap effects, making him the perfect hero for this duel. Jaden punched his fist. Go, Wildheart! Defeat Lancer Archfiend! Wildheart let out a wild roar, throwing the boomerang in his hand. With a gust of wind, the boomerang sliced through Lancer Archfiendal, who exploded on the spot. Kira, LP 3600. Alright, that's one back for me, Jaden said. Turn end. My turn, draw. Kira said. In the standby phase, I also activate the effect of Takeover 5 in my graveyard. I banish it and a same-named card from my deck to draw one card. After drawing, he immediately played the card. Spell card, Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards from my deck. Another golden flash in his graveyard as 2 more cards exited. Then I banish the dark monster Lancer Archfiend and the light monster Magician of Faith from my graveyard. Souls of light and darkness guide the power of chaos. A dark mage descends. Chaos Sorcerer, summon. A beam of light and a beam of darkness intertwined, spiraling into a vortex in the sky. Violent chaotic magic burst forth, a 2-toned pillar of light illuminating a mage wielding both light and dark. Chaos Sorcerer, ATK 2300. Oh, the power of chaos that Kira controls appears at last. Jaden grew more excited. Looks like I'll get to face a legendary monster today. Kira, Chaos Sorcerer, attack Elemental Hero Wildheart. Chaos Sorcerer crossed his hands, unleashing a storm of light and dark magic. Wildheart was instantly consumed, obliterated by the blast. Jaden, LP 3600-3300. Jaden raised an arm to shield himself and declared, "You fell for it, Kira." The Cyclone Boomerang equipped to Wildheart has another effect. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, destroy all spell/trap cards on the field and inflict 500 damage for each destroyed. Anime effect. In the actual card, this was errated to only trigger if the equipped monster is destroyed by effect, and only inflicts 100 damage per destroyed card. So that's it. Misawa's eyes lit up. Wildheart was just bait, the real target was non-fusion area. Chumley added, now the fusion lock is broken, and Jaden can use all his fusion combos next turn. But Kira immediately activated another back row. I activate the counter trap Judgment of Anubis. Discard a card to negate and destroy a spell that would destroy spell/trap cards. A black mist swept over the field, forming a shadowy image of Anubis. The boomerang was absorbed by the mist and ground to dust. Ah, Jaden said, even the boomerang didn't work. And, after Judgment of Anubis resolves, I can destroy one monster on your field and inflict damage equal to its ATK. Kira paused and chuckled. But Wildheart was already destroyed in battle, so there's no monster to destroy. Too bad. The black mist faded, and Anubis vanished. The battle ended, and non-fusion area remained. Kira's setup isn't so easy to break through, Jaden laughed. Looks like I'll need to come up with a few more tricks. Kira, I set one monster face down and set 2 cards to my back row. Turn end. My turn, draw. Jaden said. I activate Pot of Greed to draw 2 more cards. Another draw accelerator, and Jaden quickly scanned his hand, a new tactic forming in his mind. I normal summon Elemental Hero Clayman. Elemental Hero Clayman, ATK 800. Cirrus was stunned, Clayman in attack position. Who's he going after? Then I activate Equip Spell Clay Wrap. Jaden said. Clayman's exclusive spell can only be equipped to Elemental Hero Clayman. Anime card. A transparent protective film covered Clayman, like a shield, though his stats didn't change. Next, I activate the spell White Elephant's Gift from my hand. Send a non-effect monster you control to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. I send Elemental Hero Clayman to the graveyard and draw 2 cards. Clayman and his protective film vanished into light, and Jaden drew 2 cards. Hey! Cirrus was even more confused. Isn't that a net loss of an equip? You might be Jaden's sidekick, but you really don't get his deck, Misawa commented, giving Cirrus a strange look. Cirrus. Sure enough, Jaden smiled and explained, when Clay Wrap is sent from the field to the graveyard, I can send any spell or trap card on your field to the graveyard. Oh, I get it now. Cirrus finally understood. Misawa squinted at him, as if to say, dude, you're hopeless. So, thanks to Clay Wrap's effect, non-fusion area goes to the graveyard. Clayman's shadow appeared, making a come-on gesture. A vortex emerged in Kira's back row, dragging the trap card in and erasing it. Perfect. Jaden clenched his fist, eyes burning with determination. Fusion lock broken. Chapter 233, Fusion Birth Bonus. Fusion lock lifted. Jaden's not the kind of duelist you can just shut down, Misawa chuckled. He found a way out. Yeah, that's Jaden for you, Chumley agreed. If he could be suppressed so easily, he wouldn't be him. Alright. Jaden declared. From my hand, I activate another polymerization. My heroes are only just getting started. Now the real battle begins. I activate a set card, Kira said calmly, flipping a card face up. Continuous Trap Narukami Waterfall. As long as this card is on the field, neither player can send monsters from their hand to the graveyard. Manga card. Jaden stared at the card, thinking hard for a couple of seconds. Then his eyes widened, mouth falling open. Nanny? No sending from hand so. That's right, Kira smiled. Sorry, Jaden, but looks like you still can't use hand fusion. The previously impressed crowd fell silent. After several seconds, Chumley finally said, well, Jaden is Jaden, but Kira is Kira. Indeed, Misawa nodded. If he could be broken so easily, he wouldn't be Kira. Another polymerization wasted. Jaden scratched his head, wow, you really came prepared. So now I have to get my fusion materials on the field, hey. But right now, the field was under Kira's control. He had a powerful Chaos Sorcerer, and it wouldn't be easy to get fusion materials on board. Still. Jaden glanced at his hand, a barely contained excitement on his face. He still had a way to break through. I activate the spell card Soul Return. Jaden declared. Return 2 warrior monsters from my graveyard to the top of my deck in any order. Manga card. 2 cards slid out of his graveyard, which Jaden flashed for all to see. I return Elemental Hero Avian and Elemental Hero Burstinatrix to the top of my deck. He placed the 2 cards on top of his deck. Now back to the top. Oh. Kira said with interest. Putting them on top of the deck, what for? Hat, you'll see soon enough. Jaden waved his hand, playing another spell card face down. Spell card Fusion Birth. Send the top 5 cards of your deck to the grave, and if you send the required fusion materials, you can fusion summon that monster. Manga card. Crowd, what? Even the audience was shocked. You could fuse directly from the deck like this? Whoa, Kira narrowed his eyes. As expected of Fusion Dimensions Ace, Jaden so many fancy fusion tricks. Sending 5 from the deck to the graveyard. Jaden quickly drew 5 cards. The top 2, of course, were Avian and Burstinatrix, which he had just returned. According to Fusion Birth's effect, Avian and Burstinatrix fuse. A fusion vortex appeared above Jaden's head. He raised both cards high, and the classic duo appeared, becoming green and red whirlwinds that merged together. A fiery storm erupted, flames falling like shooting stars. White wings spread as the hero bathed in fire descended. Appear, my beloved hero. Elemental Hero Flame Wingman, Fusion Summon. Elemental Hero Flame Wingman, ATK 2100. Even under these conditions, you managed to summon Flame Wingman, Kira smiled. But, even your favorite Flame Wingman has less ATK than Chaos Sorcerer, don't forget. Of course. Jaden gave a confident smile, flipping another card from his hand. Field Spell Skyscraper. A bustling city, skyscrapers like towering giants rising from the earth, shining against a starry sky. Moonlight streamed like silver ribbons, spotlights sliced through the night, reflecting off glass like jewels in the night sky. Kira wasn't surprised. A hero needs the perfect stage, Jaden said. Battle. Elemental Hero Flame Wingman, attack Chaos Sorcerer. Flame Wingman soared through the air, wrapped in flames, diving from the skyscraper's peak with a meteor kick. Skyscraper's effect: when an elemental hero you control battles a monster with higher ATK, its ATK increases by 1000 during damage calculation. Anime effect. In the card game, it was nerfed to only trigger when attacking, but the original version worked both ways, saving Jaden many times. Elemental Hero Flame Wingman, ATK 2100-3100. With Skyscraper's boost, Flame Wingman became a 3000 killer, even stronger than the legendary Blue Eyes White Dragon. Chaos Sorcerer was no match, getting kicked away and burned to ashes. Kira, LP 3600-2800. And that's not all Flame Wingman's effect, I'm sure you haven't forgotten. When he destroys a monster by battle, inflict damage equal to its original ATK. Flame Wingman landed before Kira, arm raised, flames swirling. This hit would deal an extra 2300 damage, leaving Kira with just 500 LP. Boom! The flames roared, but didn't land. At the last moment, a shield appeared before Kira, blocking all the flames. Hey! Jaden was surprised. Counter trap damage polarizer, Kira said. Negates effect damage and then both players draw a card. Kira drew. Don't get so hasty, the duel's not over yet. Haha, true enough. Jaden also drew, still confident. It's hard to see how this will end, but I'll be the one who wins. Oh. Kira chuckled. I'm looking forward to it. Jaden glanced at his new card, then set all his remaining cards in one go. I set 3 cards and end my turn. Chapter 234, Mutual Growth Bonus. No wonder it's a duel between the two strongest new students. Alexis leaned against the railing of the high platform, eyes fixed on the two duelists on stage. Such an intense clash right from the start, and right now it's impossible to tell which way the scales of victory will tip. Not only that, but both of them have improved amazingly in just this single semester. The one speaking was Zane, behind her. Really? Alexis turned her head. Yeah. I've dueled Jaden Yuki once, Zane nodded. I realized back then he was a special guy. But even I didn't expect that from then to now, just in a single semester, he could improve this much. Even Zane thinks so. Alexis murmured. But Kira is just as much the same, a truly terrifyingly talented duelist, Zane said. Alexis pondered for a moment, and said, those two. I think maybe they push each other forward. She didn't continue, but suddenly had a premonition. This was the very first time Kira and Jaden had faced each other in such a formal and important duel. Maybe, through this duel, both of them would truly break through to the next level. My turn, draw, said Kira. I activate the spell cards, spell books from the pot. Both players draw 3 cards from their decks. Manga card. Jaden drew cards from his deck, chuckling. Is it really okay to let me draw? I'm pretty confident when it comes to drawing cards, you know. Kira also smiled. Like you said, this duel is going all out. It's not just about winning or losing for me, it's also to test my own limits. I see. Jaden grinned. So you're challenging me to a draw-off? Alright, I accept. Draw. X2. Both drew cards simultaneously. And both flashed a knowing smile. For Kira, proving his own luck and skill with destiny draws was more important than the result itself. Being able to maintain steady performance against Jaden was a threshold he needed if he wanted to join the very top duelists in the future. And so far, with his persistent training and the aid of his spirits, he was doing pretty well. Alright, it's on, Jaden. Oh, bring it. Jaden was pumped. I banished the Dark Chaos Sorcerer from my graveyard, and the Light Blade Knight that I milled earlier from my deck. Kira held up a card. The Souls of Light and Dark offered to the field of chaos, I call forth the legendary warrior. A beam of light and a beam of darkness faded into a maelstrom of chaos, countless particles coalescing into imposing armor and a blade of light and dark, like a hero descending from the dawn of chaos. Heaven and earth split open. The legendary warrior. Blackluster soldier envoy of the beginning, appear. He's finally here. Jaden's eyes were blazing, the legendary warrior. So cool it splits the sky. Blackluster soldier envoy of the beginning, ATK 3000. Blackluster soldier envoy of the beginning, effect activate, Kira declared. Once per turn, by giving up my attack, I can banish one monster on your field. Banish elemental hero Flame Wingman. Chaos Dimension Slash. BLS raised his sword, a slash that transcended time and space, splitting even the dimension, tearing open a rift aimed straight at Flame Wingman. Then I activate my set card Quick Play Spell Diffusion. Jaden declared. I diffuse Flame Wingman, and special summon the original fusion materials from my graveyard. Come back, Avian. Come back, Burstinatrix. Flame Wingman split into two, reverting to the classic duo. The dimension slash swept through the space between them, cleaving onto the horizon. Both monsters appeared in defense. Elemental Hero Avian, Def 1000. Elemental Hero Burstinatrix, Def 800. That means the Chaos Dimension slash lost its target, so it fizzles. Jaden laughed. And now, since BLS used its effect, it can't attack this turn either. Golden commentator Misawa couldn't help but praise, impressive. Using diffusion to dodge the BLS's most powerful effect and even block its attack. Then I flip my set monster, Kira said. He flipped his face down monster. My set monster is Mask of Darkness. Mask of Darkness, ATK 900. When Mask of Darkness is flipped, I add a trap card from my graveyard to my hand. Kira smiled and drew the trap card from his graveyard, showing it briefly. So I retrieve this continuous trap non-fusion area. Audience. The crowd gasped. That card again. Even the spectators felt the pain. Jaden had worked so hard to get rid of that annoying card, and now it was back in his hand in an instant. Haha, as expected, Kira isn't going to let me off easy. But unlike the crowd, Jaden was still full of fighting spirit. But I've got a counter as well. I activate my set card, trap card Mind Crush. What? The entire audience stood up in shock. Wait. Why does Jellyfish Head have the opponent's card in his deck? Isn't that the Yellow King's trap? Mind Crush. Declare a card name. If your opponent has that card in their hand, they must discard it. Otherwise, I discard a random card. Jaden paused, then smiled. Of course, I declare. Non-fusion area. Oh, darn, I actually do have that card in hand, Kira feigned regret, flashing the trap he just retrieved, then tossed it to the graveyard. Jaden cheerfully flashed a victory sign, lucky. I actually guessed right. Discard that card, Kira. Spectators. Are you two putting on a comedy show or what? First they both opened with Takeover 5, and now Jaden suddenly pulled out the opponent's signature trap. So it wasn't my imagination, Zane smiled, arms folded. That Jaden Yuki, he's changed a lot compared to before. MHM. Alexis nodded, her expression complicated. Chapter 235, You really packed a second copy? Alexis and Zane were still analyzing and watching, but didn't expect Kira's next move would nearly make them fall off the stands. I summon Cyber Valley. Cyber Valley, ATK 0. Cyber Dragon. Alexis was shocked and instinctively looked at Zane. Zane's first reaction was surprise, but then he quickly calmed down. Cyber Dragon's signature card is really only Cyber and Dragon. While not common, the other cards aren't that rare. After all, the Cyber Art Dojo had plenty of students. Even if only Zane inherited Cyber and Dragon, the rest used Cyber cards too. Besides, everyone knew Kira was now a hotshot research ace at the academy and had partnerships with the two big card companies. Pulling a Cyber series card wasn't strange at all. Oh, is Kira going to play Cyber style too? Jaden looked hopeful. No, Kira smiled. He was fine with tossing in a few odd cards or combos, but mashing totally unrelated decks together felt too forced. Cyber Valley was, in fact, a popular tech card back then. Could block attacks, end the battle phase, draw cards, recover from the grave, all solid effects, and thus often seen in both meta and rogue decks. Cyber Valley's effect: banish itself and another monster on my field to draw 2 cards. Kira declared. I banish Cyber Valley and Mask of Darkness to draw 2 cards. A golden light shone from Cyber Valley, enveloping both itself and Mask of Darkness, and both vanished into light. Kira drew 2 cards, then revealed one. Next, from my hand, I activate Jester Kofi's effect: special summon. Jester Kofi, ATK 0. Then I tribute the spellcaster type Jester Kofi. The clown vanished in a flash of light, and a pure white magic circle appeared. Silent wings carrying hope, magician of light, appear before us. Silent magician, summon. A storm of light, a white-robed magician appeared in the swirling light, legs barely visible beneath the hem of her robe, power swirling into her pure white staff. Silent magician, ATK 1000. 2 ace monsters in a row in a single turn, hey. Jaden laughed. Silent magician's ATK increases by 500 for each card in my hand, Kira noted. I have 3 cards left, so her ATK rises by 1500. Silent magician, ATK 1000 2500. Silent magician, attack elemental hero Avian. Silent magic burst. A milky white magic bullet blasted down, Avian was immediately shattered and vanished in the light. Then I set 3 cards to my back row and end my turn. Silent magician, ATK 2500 1000. So you value back row protection over ATK? That's just like you, Kira, Jaden said. Alright, I can't lose either. My turn, draw. Jaden drew, then played a card from his hand. From my hand, I activate. Spell card: Our Righteous Justice. For each elemental hero I control, I can destroy a spell or trap on the field. Nice. Cirrus cheered, with Kira as the opponent. The biggest threat is definitely the back row. True, Misawa smiled. But will it really go through that easily? Kira said, I activate Silent Magician's effect once per turn, negate and destroy a spell card activation. I negate and destroy Our Righteous Justice. The silent staff was raised, a spell chanted soundlessly. The spell's effect was quickly bound and burst into light. Haha, it's not that easy after all, Jaden laughed. Then I activate the spell White Elephant's Gift: send a non-effect monster from my field to the graveyard, draw 2 cards. I send elemental hero Burstinatrix to the graveyard and draw 2 cards. Jaden drew 2. At this moment, I chain to White Elephant's Gift: continuous trap appropriate. Kira said. Whenever my opponent draws outside the draw phase, I can also draw 2 cards. A card rarely seen in the TCG, but after trying it once, Kira realized it was surprisingly strong in this draw-heavy anime world. Sure enough, Jaden played another card. I activate spell card Hero's Legacy. If I have 2 or more level 4 or higher hero monsters in the graveyard, I draw 3 cards. Anime effect. A brutal engine in the anime. Kira, not to be outdone, followed up, appropriates effect: when you draw outside the draw phase, I also draw 2. Jaden continued, I normal summon elemental hero Bublemon. Elemental hero Bublemon, ATK 800. Kira raised an eyebrow. Didn't Bublemon go to the graveyard already? Or? Seeing his confusion, Jaden grinned, remember when we chatted over lunch? You said my Bublemon was actually underrated, a really strong hero. The more I thought about your analysis, the more I agreed, so I added 2 more copies. Kira took a deep breath. Wow, I just made an offhand comment, and you actually packed multiple copies? Well, with Skyscraper on my field and a set card, I can't use Bubbleman's effect to draw again, Jaden said. But I then activate Quick Play spell Bubble Shuffle. Jaden continued. I switch my attack position Bublemon and one of your attack position monsters to defense position. I'll change Bublemon and your Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning to defense position. Elemental hero Bublemon, ATK 800 Def 1200. Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning, ATK 3000 Def 2500. Then, by tributing the now defense position Bublemon, I can special summon an elemental hero from my hand. Jaden declared. I tribute Elemental Hero Bublemon to special summon. Elemental Hero Blat Edge. A torrent of water burst from beneath Bublemon, who vanished, replaced by a golden, shining blade-armed warrior. Elemental Hero Blat Edge, ATK 2600. Elemental Hero Blat Edge, attack Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning. Also, at this moment, Skyscraper's effect. When an elemental hero battles a monster with higher ATK, its ATK increases by 1000. Oh, right. Cirrus blurted out, Skyscraper says battles a monster with higher ATK, it doesn't have to be in attack position. Even though BLS is in defense, its ATK is still higher than Blat Edge, so Blade Edge's ATK goes up to 3600. And not only that, Blat Edge deals piercing damage when attacking defense position monsters, Misawa said. This attack can deal massive damage. Impressive. But... Kira waved his arm, flipping a back row card to reveal a blinding golden radiance. I activate Trap Magic Cylinder.
Thanks for listening.